Pow. I think we got it. Do we got it? All right, I'll wait for everybody to come in. I'm sorry, guys. That whole thing just shut down, but it's not going to beat us. Here we go. I'm sorry. We're waiting on Lynn to pop in for everybody to find it. Here we go. Maybe. Oh, Jiminy. Do we got it? Found her. Okay. Hey, Aunt Edna. How you doing, sweetheart? Okay. Let's see if we get Lynn in here. Hang in there, guys. Oh, my goodness. What a night. This has happened before, hasn't it? I'm wondering if it's the new update. I'll just blame it on that. All right. Let's send this to her. I think we've got it. All right. It's rolling over there. Get in here, girl. All right. So there we are. Hi, Glenn. I see Glenn. How you doing? So wow, right? Sorry about this, but I think it truly was the update on the computer, and it wouldn't show me the chat. And then I tried to back out. Well, it's just techie stuff, and I can't explain it. It happened, and we got back. So, trying to see why I'm not seeing Lynn. Put that down low. And while we're waiting on Lynn to come in, I wanted to ask you guys if you would take a moment and just send some healing thoughts out to whatever good that some good energy can do. If you guys would join me and Lynn when she gets back in, to just sending out to our brothers and sisters in Hawaii and anybody who is under any natural disaster, Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, Canada, Alaska, it doesn't matter, around the world, globe, in the UK and Scotland and England, anybody that is hurting tonight. Because you can look around and you can see, as Lynn said, there she is. As Lynn said,
oh, that's not working. Sorry.
It's okay, honey. Anything can happen, and it happens so quick. So if we could just take a moment and send that out to Lahaina.
Yes.
From New Jersey to Lahaina, aloha. We will heal together. We will find ways to get you help. And anybody else that's out there. We're supposed to take care of each other. And we need to remember how fragile we are and how so alike we are. For Lahaina and those in need tonight.
Amen to that.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all. All right. Good to have you back. That was crazy, girl.
Is the chat better now?
I think so. I'm going to double check it here. I'm going to cut the music down. It's beautiful. That is Wandering Soul by Asher Valero. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's hard to remember the beauty. That's why, in the beginning I played all the picture things and stuff. Okay, so D-Rock looks like the last one on YouTube and the last one here. I think we might have a go.
Oh, good. Okay.
All right. So, Lynn, before we get into the other side and maybe even touch on things like the Akashic records and vibrations and frequencies and levels and transitioning through, for lack of better words, the veil. Tell us a little bit about your books too, because you did Omnipresent and then After, and that book is called what?
Omnipresence actually is actually going to end up being a series of 5 books.
Wow.
The first one is Omnipresent, which is a story about a house that I purchased as a single mom with 2 kids that was so haunted that I was never able to actually move into it.
Crazy.
Then the second book is Omnipresent, What Happened Next, and it tells about that I did get in touch with the people that sold me the house and what was happening to their children, claw marks, bruises, bite marks, the kids drawing pictures at school of the creepy things living down in the basement next to their house, while the other side is their smiling family. And also some other things. And then in the interim of that, of course, my mother had passed away, and I wrote The Colors of Heaven, Beginnings Never End, which is now going to also have a sequel to it. I don't even know what the name of it's going to be yet, but I'm sure they kind of come to me. So when I'm meant to write it, I'll know what I'm supposed to call it. The third book that I also currently have out right now is called The Gap. What else your adolescent and teen needs to know. A couple of counselor friends of mine, we were looking for a book for my daughter. She's 14, she's going to be 15. And there seemed to be this gap from the birds and the bees to the human trafficking part. There's this whole part in the middle,
That's a big jump.
And it is.
I don't mean to laugh or make light of it. I'm just saying that's a big jump. And see, again, don't get me wrong, guys. Laughter is the best medicine. Laughter will get you through this bullshit. I'm telling you, if you can find a way to go, wow, the irony of that one, and push through it. So go ahead. That's a great
and the laughter
to have.
Yes, the laughter pushes the negativity away. The negative spirits that come forth do not like it. It's a repellent for them. So it's really, really important. Those are perfect words that you said, Cisco, because it is so very true. And that was also
and healing. Yes. Healing as well.
It is.
You know that as a nurse. I mean, we laughed all through the IC. I know it sounds terrible, but you do it. You don't make light of it, but you find, and it pushes it away, and you could just deal with what you have to deal with that's left, and without that outside influence of. So true.
It is so true. And there's so many people that just want to continue to keep their blinders on and talking about all of the things that are wrong. And you were emphasizing the person that was getting honked at. What people don't realize is that a lot of times those irritants are put into place with a more grand reason, for lack of a better word. And you just never ever know, after you've cussed out that little old lady driving down the road that's, white knuckle syndrome, how she may have saved you from an accident 5 minutes down the road if you had been clipping along at the pace that you were originally going. I mean, there's just so many things that these irritants that happen that you lock your keys in the house and you're delayed getting to a special appointment. Again, you just don't know what you were saved on. And when you get on the other side, you do get to go and see those things. And, right now there's a lot of galactic stuff going on too. I mean, there's stuff that we can't even talk about on this, or Facebook will kick us off. So I'm not even going, I'm just, delicately going to go there, but there's a lot of stuff intertwined with, I do.
Honey, I do. I could go off, and I can tell you what, if we were on just pure Rumble or whatever, we could have a hell of a show. Yes. But you know what I'm saying? It's just because, but the best thing I can tell you is everybody is aware of the things that are around us. And I'm telling you, if it feels like it's coming if you feel like you are at the base of a valley and the top of the valley is a bunch of arrows pointed at you and everybody's just shooting at the same time, it's true. But you can deflect all of that, like Lynn said, with pushing through it, avoiding take a break. Sometimes you have to take a break and say, I got to do this or whatever to recharge. But if you have to get through something, laughter and being sarcastic, and sometimes, bitchy sarcastic's okay.
Yep.
I've been saying some stuff lately. I'm telling you, it's hard. It's hard. But that guy behind that lady, I'm thinking I could feel her anxiety. And I'm thinking, I want to go out there and just pull him out of the, I know it sounds awful, but I'm telling you the truth, because I don't want you to think I'm up here just saying, keep your lights on and keep all the, it's hard. It's hard. It's so hard.
It is.
To keep that monster down or whatever. But again, like we said, Lynn, you just said it. I said it. We were talking about Pam Locke, and I'd love to get all of us on one night, like a round table of this, because she's the one that came on and told you stay above the line. She drew a line, and she had all of these feelings up here, high vibrational feelings of laughter and just happy stuff, positive things. And below that line were the darker, heavier emotions of jealousy and hatred and anger and
complaining. Yeah.
Depression and can't and won't and that kind of thing. Everything, and it just gets darker as you go deeper, and it gets brighter as you go up. And she just stay above the line. She doesn't say be in the top of the mountain and be the one of the be all, know all, and make it through everything without a skid mark on you. It's every minute. Sometimes, like I said, I wear headphones at work because I don't want to hear what other people are saying. I just want to, what what he said, wait, I just can't. So you have to find it. You have to find your point. Like a ballerina has to find that spot. What do they call it? Spotting. Or because you're spinning so fast, if you don't just focus on your spotting, you'll get dizzy and puke. Perfect example.
That is true. And
be a ballerina.
Yep. And even staying above the line, that's such a good analogy for that. People don't seem to realize you really do manifest what comes in the future for you.
Yes.
And you negate so many things, so many good things coming to you get negated because of oh, well, I never win anything. Well, yeah, now you fixed it.
I can't. That's a self curse. It's a self curse. It's a self curse.
It is.
When you say I can't do that, you've already cursed yourself not to, or having a hard time doing it.
And thoughts are just as important.
Yep. Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. It's like the little train that could. I think I can. I think I can. He was positive until he brought up that hill, And again, that's why I tell everybody this show isn't perfect. It's not going to be perfect. It's an acquired taste. A lot of people don't want to hear the truth. They don't like long form stuff. They don't like people who talk about honest conversations, Oh, and keeping it YouTube friendly. See,
yes, which is hard.
But but we're telling you how to get through your damn day and what happens with your loved ones and things. Look, I know I've got all kinds of things around my neck. Number one thing around here is a picture of my cat that passed. And on the back of that's Dickens McGee right there. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Aww.
And you can see they do such a great job because they put the picture that looks just like him. I know it's hard to see.
Didn't your son give you that? Didn't he give you that for your birthday?
And he took the picture. And he took the picture, and he knew when he was taking the pictures, he kind of felt something like, man, I know this is going to be important. He took about a blast of 5, and they were beautiful.
Aww.
And on the back of it says the last words he heard me say to him, love is eternal. And it is. It is, and I know it sounds so hard to believe because a lot of people that we love that are here on earth, kind of irritate. No, listen, all that goes away. Everybody gets it on the other. You work through it, So we've got to just let all that go and understand that there's a lot going on around us right now that's really testing all the things. And you're going to get pushed on. Everybody's got cracks in their windshield. Some are just tiny little, and how quickly just a little pressure makes that spider web and splinter. And this is what happens in life. We're telling you, look, we don't have all the answers, but we got this far and we know what helped. And like we said, galvanized, armored. I don't want to say jaded. I don't want to say just toughened up, even though that all of those things are true. But it's also a knowing this isn't
Yes.
it. This isn't it. Everything is connected. Why are all these things connected? From grass giving off vibrations and changes in their vibration when it's cut, to trees, to Bigfoot and aliens, to us. We're all connected. So that's why when somebody is globally hurting, we feel it as empaths, as light workers, and we say, why couldn't we have helped? Why couldn't we have stopped this? Why couldn't we have somehow connected all our energy and directed it at that situation and stopped it? Well, we can. And there are groups that are doing that. That's as far as I can go into that right now. But they are light workers and they are out there. But the opposite is also true.
That's true. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just say constant battle. But there's people that get mad at me sometimes when I tell the truth, and I feel like almost like I have to speed up the information I'm revealing, because it's almost like everything, the world is speeding up. Time is speeding up somehow. It feels that way.
It does.
So many.
It really does.
And I just want to make sure everybody's got the some extra tools in your toolbox. Put them with yours, and if you need it, it's there. And if not, then hey, I tried. Because I know people that I no longer, and it's not because I don't speak to that person anymore and I've set this thing where I slam the phone and I'm never talking to you again. It's not like that. It's like it gets unpleasant, and you get to the point where you have to just stop now. The rest is up to them, and you just cannot be in the same room with them. You love them so much, but if that happens, bad things are going to be said. No good can come from this. You see, there's an impasse, and you just quietly back away from that person. Tell me that's not happened to some of you out there. And that's hard, because you find yourself somewhat isolated, maybe in smaller groups, doing less things socially because you don't want to go out there. So you meet here. And if you're going to meet here, let's use the time wisely and just talk the truth, and I'm sorry if that upsets some people. And we say things like what evil believes. We're not saying we believe it. It doesn't matter if we believe it. They believe it. And they're doing it. So we have to it's time to, hike your pants up, put the boots on, and go, I'm going to be a light worker. I picked to be here this time. I'm going to do something with it. If it's helping one person, if one person listens, if one person laughs through the crazy and makes it through the other side. That's why I'm here.
Yep.
Go ahead, Lynn.
And also Rex Bear, he's also a podcast person. He always says with his show is to be the change that you want to see. And that is so important. We each have to start with ourselves. Even like, in addition to what Cisco was saying, being responsible for our thoughts. That is so important, that you are also responsible for your thoughts and not letting them just run willy-nilly. Because on the other side, that's how you communicate. It's like a beacon. You don't communicate by mouth. Everything's through thought.
Everything's through thought. Everything's telepathic. We were just saying that last week, Lynn. I can't agree with you more, because I'm not only my belief in it has been solidified completely, and I believe this most of my life. It was second nature to me that Sasquatch and everybody calls it Bigfoot. It almost takes away from the creature that this thing is. You see what I'm saying? I believe
Skunk ape,
all of that. This is a creature just the same as anything walking out there, but the telepathic is strong with this one. And now I'm realizing dogmen are as well, and that surprised me. And I don't know why I didn't think that, because I would think a wolf was. You can connect that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and that's
anger.
So true.
Yep.
It is
Go
so
ahead.
true. And also they've been able to manipulate's not really the word that I'm looking for, but um, with their
I know what you
thoughts,
mean.
they're able to even disappear.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
able to, it's not, they can go through portals, or they can be standing right next to you, and they raise their vibration through that thought. And that's the word I was looking for. They're raising their vibration through that thought to the point where you can't see them. And they can be standing right next to you and you wouldn't even know it. And then there are other times that they enter
So
and
true.
exit in through portals as well. And
Or
that's
are
important.
the normal people, they're gonna love that one. Oh, now they disappear. Okay.
No,
They're
yeah, no, they
telepathic.
do. They're
But no,
still
I'm just
there.
saying, no, I'm saying the normal people that just can't even, okay, Bigfoot exists, sure. They're out there. It
Oh,
seems so weird to us because we can talk about this stuff like it's,
mm-hmm.
like we're talking about cereal. And it's no big deal. It's just natural.
Mm-hmm.
We can add things in and just throw in stuff like, yep, dogman telepathic. And they can, and also I'll go one up you on that. Some big feet, because I think there's different kinds. And I'll tell you
Yes.
why. I'll tell you why when we're on with Ron Murphy. We're doing the whole Bigfoot thing. It's going to be awesome. So anyhow, but the normies are sitting there thinking, okay, now, well, you could just say matter of factly, the reason you don't see any bodies, is because they come in and out of portals. So many
Mm-hmm.
people say portholes, and I think it's so funny. And, it's like it's a whole different visual, but coming in and out of portal holes. See, now I'm doing it, and that's why I'm not finding the bodies and stuff. And it's so weird because I put that in cabin 22, and I
Yes.
wasn't even realizing how freaking true it was.
Yes.
You know, and I
Mm-hmm.
did. It was just something that seemed natural, so there it went. And the same with the dog man, and I'm like, wow. And we're our thoughts. So think about that, guys. So again, Echo Bodine, similar what the story I told about them flying and hearing different music, and she was thinking about different music, and she could hear it over there, and it was the people that loved that too, or that
Mm-hmm.
musician, or that band, or whatever. And she would just think it, and it would happen. And this is why in Five People You Meet in Heaven, I wish I could get that movie for y'all. Five People You Meet in Heaven. She was his ex-wife who he finally, or who had passed, his wife who had passed, not ex. And she liked to go to weddings. So she would just think of different weddings and show up there so she could be a participant and visualize it. And he's like, this is my heaven, but it changes. It's not one thing. And, cabin by the lake fishing, it's thoughts. So if thoughts are that powerful on the other side, if thoughts are that powerful amongst those that walk among us, whether they
Mm-hmm.
be Bigfoot or whatever, why wouldn't our thoughts be important?
They are. Yeah, they absolutely
It's a
are.
question.
And something else, and
Wow.
that's a great question. Yeah, it is a great question. Something else too that I found with my sister's passing is that she was cremated and she wanted me to take her ashes to the ocean. And when I picked up the box that her ashes were in, there was a vibration coming off of that, of her, that was familiar, but it was all of the negativity, the cancer, the depression, the anger, the jealousy, the bargaining, all left behind in that box. And I could feel it coming off of her. And so many times people will want to wear a little bit of their loved one's dead ashes, so that they can feel close to Aunt Joe or whoever like
Did
that.
you
And
say
this,
where?
yes, they
You mean
sometimes,
like, oh,
yeah,
you're
they put
talking
them.
about like in a necklace or something.
Right, but it doesn't
Okay.
apply to animals because animals don't have those issues that we have. You know what I'm saying? They have unconditional love for the most part. But
Yes.
people here on earth, all of that built up anger at somebody, the jealousy, even from your childhood, the fighting that locks up in your bones, all of that was left behind in the box with her. And I had no idea how much energy still radiates off of those remains, and that there are so many people that will take a little bit of the ashes and put it in a pendant and wear it around their neck because they want to be close to their aunt. It's radiating negative energy. I'm sorry to tell you. It may be some of the
Stayed
familiars.
behind. That stuff
Yes,
will stay behind. Oh
it's
man.
it's the leftovers that and I don't mean to downplay,
Wow,
it's
guys.
the leftovers. And here you are carrying that on your body and your energy field. You might want to, yeah, you do. Yeah, that's one thing that I did find out. So,
wow, that's a bombshell, though. Think about that. It makes perfect sense. And it's something that you would never think about, guys. I mean, wow. Thank you so much, Kathita. Yeah, that was our hospital haunts. I'm telling you, there's a lot of things that, between us that we've seen now, and that really, when I listen to Lynn tell me the stories, the pieces that snap together, it's real important information to know. And it eases everything down a little bit. I think understanding this stuff now, see if you guys pick this up, okay? Understanding and knowing. I had a person tell me one time, great medium, and we were just chilling and having a conversation, and she said, well, she said, if I did that, it's almost like whatever it was. It's all, and it wasn't a good thing. It was, a moderately negative thing. It wasn't anything evil or anything. She said, if I did that, knowing what I know now, I get judged more harshly on that. What? Think about it. If you do something knowing that what it's going to cost, it's going to cause a ripple, it's going to drag you closer to maybe being below that line or a little closer to being at that line or whatever, and you do it, it's more costly to your soul. And I don't mean others are judging you. You're judging yourself, because when you go over there, you judge yourself.
That's true.
And people like to put in there that everybody stands around and points fingers at you or whatever, or even has the thought of, let's just put it this way, spiritually wise, that you would be kind of the same as you're waiting for your mom or dad to get home and come in and talk to you about what you got caught doing. And it's that kind of feeling, if that makes sense. And you're thinking, oh gosh, I don't want to disappoint this one. I don't want to, oh gosh, because as kids, really, we always said we don't want to make them mad or make that person that you loved mad. You didn't want to disappoint them. That hurt deeper. And I think that's the control that different people and different groups use to keep you in line. But if you take that out, I think that's included in there, because there's enlightened beings, and your loved ones, probably from this life and others. Who knows? There might be souls that stayed back. Some are gone on and reincarnated or whatever. My beliefs, my thought, my theory. What I've heard from multiple places over many years. And I think it's that thing where you feel like you don't want to face Uncle Bob or your ex-wife or whatever, but they've already chilled through all that. They've watched you, and they understand now that you're a young soul, or you were a young soul just learning more things. And that's okay. When you get to the point where you start getting that, that's the thing, it costs more, but it costs more from you on the other side once you cross over. Does that make any sense, Lynn?
It does. Yeah, it definitely does. And it's true that you do judge yourself with all of the things like cheating or whatever you're doing. And most of the time, they were the ones that have crossed over ahead of you. By the time you get there, they could care less what you did. You know what I'm saying? Because they're just there to love you and guide you and to help you find your way, over there and go through the things that you need to go through. So many souls, they choose to stay here instead of crossing over, and they end up getting stuck here. And those are the ones that are haunting your house and that sort of thing, which you don't want. But no, that is so true. And the thing about it is too, what I've learned is that there's a major part of us. When we come here, we're only a piece of our whole self that is still on the other side.
So true. Say it again. Say it again. This is so true. Listen to this.
I mean, if you could imagine a jellyfish, and this big piece on the side, and then the tentacles come down, because we can also be in multi universes and doing multiple things, multiple planets.
It's wonder we're so tired. Everywhere. I swear to God.
Exactly, and they parallel a lot of times too for the lessons and things that we need to learn. But we are our universal consciousness of who we are is on the other side, and only a fraction of us, as far as ourselves, come here. So we are a piece of something much bigger, and when we leave here, we return to that.
Right.
So, and another
it's
thing
almost
too,
like you're a big body in a big ocean. Just imagine a big ocean, far as the eye, way past far as the eye can see. Okay, and our soul is kind of like a bucket of water that comes out of that, the collective consciousness of everything living or has ever lived or will live. Does that sound about right so far?
Yes.
And then you take the bucket and take a shot glass out of it. This is you. This is still you. It's all you. And it's all you at the same time.
Yes.
So you connect back. That's why we say stuff like, well, that could have been my spirit guide. Like, say something helped you or pulled you from a bus, in my case. Lifted you up, put you on your ass on the sidewalk, and you turn around and there's nobody there. It happened to me. And then, I saw the bus go and realized it was one of those things. It was before cell phones even. It probably happens a lot now with the whole. So anyhow, you would have to say, unless you were 100% sure that was a spirit guide that you recognized, you caught a glimpse of them, or you recognized a name or a vibration even, or it could have been a loved one, or it could have been like people like say it was an angel. All these things could be true, but can also be your higher self. Now that's wild to think of, but think on that a minute. I want to go back to this because it was so darn interesting and you said it so well. And Aunt Edna's saying, I thought the negativity, I'm guessing she's saying the negative of the negative vibrations of that person is crossing over. You leave all that behind.
I thought so too.
And I said, can you go back over that? And I'll tell you what, I'm going to go grab something and you take it away. I'd love for you to explain that again, because I think it's very important. And again, we're not saying don't do this, but just like anything else,
be informed.
Like crystals, you would buy a crystal, you would cleanse it before you used it for something. You know what I mean? So think about that. It's very interesting. But go ahead, I'll be right back.
And there is a difference too. If you do want to have a piece of them, for some reason, hair seems to be different than the full ashes. So take a piece of hair, and keep that as your keepsake. But I learned this when, of course, with my sister passing away, the box just vibrated this energy off it to the point that I couldn't even stand to carry it. At one point, she wanted to be placed in the ocean. So I was taking this private path down to a private beach that we had all played on as children to take her. And the negativity that was coming off of the box really made me feel uncomfortable. So I ended up taking it back. And I ended up placing her ashes inside of a sand bucket. And the thing is too, is when you take the ashes to, like, let's say a mountain or to the ocean or something, most of the time they end up blowing back on you, which also then is covering you in some of that negativity as well. I actually put her in a sand pail and walked into the water waist deep and lowered her into the water and watched the ashes go. But it is important
that's beautiful.
Everything has an energy, and I was very, very surprised, and I confirmed it with my sister. I said, because she shows up as dragonflies, and she's flitzing around with this beautiful light energy of the dragonflies, and she leaves feathers, just randomly beautiful parrot-like feathers, even blue and yellow and colors that aren't like red for the cardinal type thing. But she shows up mostly as the dragonfly, and her energy is so uplifting and light and tingly, almost, it's invigorating when she's around.
Very cool.
To feel that difference of that heavy weighted negativity. And granted, there was still some familiarity about those ashes, because it was part of her when she was here, but it was the not so good parts, so people cling to that, and you don't, first of all, people don't die. We don't die. Everybody needs to understand that. The nurses couldn't understand why when my sister passed that I wasn't crying. It's not because I don't love her, but I saw her leave. I saw my brother greet her. My whole family came in, and it's like, I know where she is and she's not suffering anymore.
So real quick
anyway.
before I let it go, Renice,
Okay.
I don't know if you can see it when I put them up here. She wanted to know, so are you saying don't keep the ashes, or if you were to keep them, what would you do? Because some people, it might be the right thing for them to keep them, and that and
that's right.
That's the thing. But I can tell you, animals will recognize the energy because they'll go to the box, or they'll go to the graves of human beings and things like this. So there is a definite energy that comes off of these things, a familiar. I can't say it either.
Does.
Familiarity of it, a recognizing, a confirmed connection to that energy of that. It's amazing. I think it's part of the whole miracle of all this, of the beauty of all this, because here's the thing: if we understand it now, how much can you fix? How much can you set as right as you can, and what can you do before you change positions, really? Sounds funny.
Exactly. That is so true. And even, it is so important to, I'm not saying to make amends, but at least to take responsibility for your actions, your negative ones. And even if the person that maybe you did them to still wants to hold the grudge, that's on them. At least you have cleared yourself. And that was something that my sister talked about when she was going through her life review. And as far as the ashes go, the animals, they don't radiate that from there when you have your animals done. But people, because we have all of those emotions and those stresses and things, I mean, it's just, to me, I felt uncomfortable having it up close to my body and my field. And looking at it with the gift of second sight, I could see the rippling effect of the energy radiating up about 6 inches all the way around it. So it is a smaller field, but it's very dense. So to me, if you do have somebody's ashes in your house, that's fine. But it's kind of like too, you don't want to have dried plants either, things that are dead too, because they kind of hold whatever negative thing that they've pulled in. But it just depends on where you have it. I wouldn't recommend having it in your bedroom, where you were trying to sleep.
There's so many things for that, and I agree with everything you're saying. But Edna had, before we move too far away from it, I wanted to say she had a great question here, or thought. We walk on the ashes of our ancestors, kind of freaky to think it's negative vibes. Now, I think I have, let me just give this one a shot. Now, this is pure top of my head. Think about it this way. Maybe that's why we always thought that, okay, we're going to bury our dead because it's more hygienic, or it's more this or more that. But what if it stems more from the understanding that you are cleansing that negativity away by grounding your loved one, just like you would ground a crystal?
That's exactly right.
If you put it back in the dirt, this is wild because I just got that. It just makes sense. It's one of those puzzle pieces.
It does.
Snap.
It does.
Because when you would cleanse the crystal, you can bury it in the earth or put it in the moonlight, in water, in the moonlight. There's so many different ways, sage and things like that. But when you ground something, this is what I'm thinking, right, Aunt Edna? How does this make sense?
Yep. Or even like in the case of my sister, I placed her in the ocean.
Mother Earth,
the ocean is very healing. Yeah. And it immediately shifted that negativity as it took her out to the ocean. It cleansed any of that remaining part that was left. So, so it's the same thing as burying. Yeah.
I knew that's what she meant. God bless you. So snap, right? And Edna, snap, snap, snap. So think about this. Again, we're not saying don't keep the ashes, but understand I know it sounds funny. Understand the ashes. I'm not making fun. I'm just saying, think about it. If animals are reacting certain ways to graves, ashes, like a t-shirt with the smell of the person. I mean, when you just went to Gettysburg for like 2 nights, I put my I'm such a sap. I put my t-shirt that, when I changed, I kept them and I put them on the bed so they would at least have the smell. They'd never been alone before. So I
Oh.
didn't want them to, freak out. But they always say that, if a dog has to go spend the night or whatever at the vet. So animals are reacting to them. They're picking up the vibe. It's possible that burial, again, wasn't just what we thought as far as, cleanliness and hygiene, whatever. It was that. So cleanse the ashes. Now, when you think about that, I think it's also needs to be taken into thought about what are you picking up from that? And it has to also do individual people. So if somebody's obviously a horrible individual, very highly negative, I think it's going to have much different vibe than somebody, that passes like an animal or a child or the person that's just got, just kind. I think it's going to be different, but there are still simple things. Look, we're human. There's not a day that goes by that I'm sure I don't have negative thoughts, violent, just like, because of the stuff I deal with. And it's not just flowers, trust me, but on a daily 24/7 basis, unless I'm asleep, it's either I'm studying axe murderers or true crime or horrible hauntings, and then hearing at the same day, hearing people making fun of, oh, that's not real. They, that never happened. That family didn't go through that crisis. That poor individual didn't go through that hideous haunting or whatever, as you can speak. All these things, or the children going through things that people just say, oh, people would do that. So that never happened because they're not listening. They don't see it, and okay. But don't tell other people that they're lying about these horrible things, right?
That's
And,
right.
and to think that the ashes and the person could be grounded and cleansed by that. I'm going to tell you a real quick story. I don't mean to jump on your story, but
No, please do.
something's telling me that there's something in here you need to hear. So I'm going to tell you. We went to Gettysburg, and some of you've heard this story, but help me out. I'll sing along. So, I go to Gettysburg Bash. People are telling me you got to do the cleansing, you got to do the saging, you got to do the thing. And I'm like, absolutely. I bring it. I bring good stuff. I bring, blessed things. I bring holy water from the River Jordan. I bring, great, just bring it all, So I go and we go to breakfast, had a great time. Wonderful podcasters there. Eric was there. Brian Bowden was there. Uncommon, all these just wonderful people. We get breakfast. I keep the leftover. I don't waste food. I'm feeding something, So I take the pancakes or whatever. I go out and say, well, I got to go find a tree. And everybody that knows me leaves me alone. So I'm looking through this massive motel parking lot, a higher end. So it's beautiful. It's got trees in between and all this other stuff. And I'm feeding birds as I'm going along. And I'm basically whistling to them, but putting out the intent, help me find a tree. Because what I'm asking of this tree, Lynn, is to please help me to take in everybody's negativity that they're bringing, their pain, their sorrow, their regret, their fear, their worry, their whatever, name it. And please absorb this and take it in. And not only that, I'm going to be a real greedy and ask you to then give back positive and send it through the earth and back through their feet and up into their soul and cleanse them, and then rejuvenate them. So I'm asking a lot of this tree. I know it sounds wackadoodle. Trust me, it's true. So I'm doing this and I'm leading the birds are coming to this one tree and I'm like, this is it. And I'm getting my shoes off and I'm already whistling. I've already got Native American flute music playing in my back pocket. So strange. The modern, version of how it used to be. So I go in and I do my thing and I offer the tree and I make, tobacco and all kind of stuff and offerings. And I'm talking to the tree and I'm thanking the tree and I go through my stuff. And I set the circle and I cleanse it and everybody comes. Everybody comes and I go all the way around. We do the whole thing from the feet up and, bless them and bring it in. Everybody walked away feeling better. 3 people, which I think were crying. I know for sure at least 3. I mean, you just release. It's everything coming out and just cleansing and just beautiful thing. And Eric, he brought his husband and he doesn't really paranormal, supernatural, and he's like, and it was so beautiful together, all of the things that happened from it. Even somebody left their pushy walker for that night and didn't even realize it. It's like, I don't need it right now. And was just happy again. It's a beautiful thing, right?
Yes.
Here's the point. Eric's husband did not really catch this, or this whole subject. He's a landscaper and understands trees. And he says, Cisco, come here. So what? And I was like, what's up, man? And he did it. He participated and he was just, he felt it, it was an amazing day for him. He says, look at the trees. He says, the tree that you were under was the only tree that wasn't in distress. He says, look at them all. And you did. You're like, what? And I hadn't seen it from this vantage point. Another lesson. Vantage points are different. I was down on the ground just looking up at the, I came back and he looked, he said, I don't know why you picked that tree. That's amazing because it's the only healthy tree out here that could have handled, from what I understand, what you were doing, because I explained what we were doing. So we thanked the tree. And I said, honey, I didn't pick the tree. The birds did. And he went, because what do I know? And he just, at that moment in time, you just saw him change. So energy, if you understand this is how nature works, it's intent. It's the willingness of those people and their energy in just a basic understanding of what was happening, but enough. And everybody coming together, nature, the trees, everything. That tree took all of that stuff, put it in, and gave enough energy back. So you don't think that that's powerful to put your remains in the ground to have it cleansed?
Yes. Beautiful. That's a beautiful way to put it.
Wow. And your ability to handle what you've just been through is a testament to everybody. And this is what I mean by it. I don't even think galvanized is the word for it, because it just makes it sound cold, even armored, and jaded isn't right. We've got to find another word for it, because it's just, and survivor puts on a different thing. It is all those things, to come through and live through. But I think certain souls come through and live through these things, and, to see others suffer or suffer ourselves or whatever. But again, the road that we chose is a rocky one, because then we have so much appreciation of the beauty at this point, because we can definitely tell the difference, that we have enough energy to reach over and tell somebody who's blinded, just seeing the darkness and and below the line or whatever, and pull them over and go, look, birds, cat pictures, jokes, sunrises, love, and just start naming things, because I think that's what gatekeepers along the journey do. That's what we do, right, Lynn?
Yes, that is what we do, and there are those cases that they like to crawl back under, or they become accustomed to it so much that they like to crawl back under it, and
it's uncomfortable.
You can offer, but it's still seeds that are planted, and maybe even if that person doesn't take them in that moment, they may at a later time allow those seeds to grow and continue to do that. But
so true.
Yeah, I mean, also another thing too that I learned, that is that television, people don't realize when they're what they're watching, they're thinking about. So when you're watching that show and somebody's getting their head chopped off or murdered, you are bringing that into your mind and you're thinking about it and putting it back out into the universe. So you also have to be responsible, for that too. And people don't realize that. They watch their video games and the shoot 'em up games. What is it, Call of Duty or whatever, or things like that that the kids are playing.
And the movies, the theaters
Yes.
full of movies, and everybody watching this movie that's just, and again, people could say that about this podcast too. Why would you bring up Lizzie Borden? Why would you bring up this? And there's so many reasons I can give. If you don't get it by now, you have got to know your enemy. And if you can discern and you can tear apart and figure out a murder mystery or a true crime, and also bring in the psychic and metaphysical that is involved in that if we all work together, we could stop this shit.
Yes. And investigating it is a totally different thing, and it's history. So it's something that already happened, but these movies that are created for entertainment,
yes,
of these bizarre things, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's where, you got to be careful with that.
Yep. And also, you can't tell me that all of these things, understanding these things have energy, and understanding that it seems to us, and I think that Lynn will absolutely agree with me on this, and so will anybody else that I would bring on here, pretty much would say that once you cross over, it changes and you leave this stuff behind. It takes some longer. Some have to go through with the process of letting those things go. Does that make sense? And then they move forward. Once they've moved through all of that, they decide they leave it all behind. They have got to connect back into that light, that higher vibrational space, right? This is why you'll hear mediums talk about the in-between. Lynn, have you learned anything being, it's a crazy question, being an end of life, in the medical field? People that get stuck, have you ever seen anybody go through? I know most of your stories are, I saw this person go through the light, or loved ones were there. Have you ever seen somebody go through that didn't have a good passing right at the beginning?
Yes. There was a man that literally fought death for 10 days. And during his transition period, he would leave his body about 2 feet above, and then he would throw himself back in, and then he would leave his body and he would throw himself back in. And I don't know if he was waiting for somebody, but I can tell you something. That is the first time that I have never seen spiritual family come forward to collect him. So I don't know if he was an alien or what he was here. But I don't know what came to get him at his time of when he left, finally decided to leave his body. And that's another thing too, as I've mentioned before, sometimes people choose to stay in until the last minute. My sister left about 35 minutes before her body actually finished. I saw her leave. They can leave a day before they can do that. But this particular man, he fought death. He fought crossing over. And I don't know why, but he was afraid. My feeling was that he was afraid to meet, go back and in his mind, because of traditional religion, meet his maker, so he was struggling with going over.
Yeah. I'm looking for something that's kind of backing up what you're saying. It's a little clip. I think I still have it. So continue on, sweetie.
Yeah. And I mean,
it's true. I agree.
We had a lady, that was just awful. I mean, she was, when she grew up during the time where her father had some plantation thing in Georgia. And so whenever a person of color would go into the room, she would spit at them. If a girl went in and she was pregnant and not married, she would kick at their stomach. I mean, this woman was absolutely awful. She would wait. The CNA would go into the room and get her covers just right and perfect. And all of a sudden she'd turn to walk out of the room, ask the lady, is there anything else that you need? And she's like, no. But as soon as the CNA exited the door, that lady was on her button. Oh, I have to go to the bathroom. Well, it took her 5 to 15 minutes to get her blankets just right. And now she has to go to the bathroom. So it was this constant control thing. But that lady too, she was another one that when she actually stayed and haunted that room.
Oh man.
Yeah. She ended up, when she finally left her body, her body was finally done. that she couldn't crawl back into it. She lingered in that room and continued to knock things off of pictures off of the wall, and she would take her finger, because there was like a curtain pulled, and she would take her finger and go in a straight line, so you'd see the finger sticking out in the curtain, or she'd make the curtain move like there was a window open or the air conditioner on when it wasn't. But I actually have a picture of her coming down into the hallway, and it got to the point that we couldn't even let people stay in that room because of the pictures and things that would be knocked off onto the floor. Was scaring people. So yeah,
well, I say so.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and she was another one. So that there are some that do that. And to me, it's that they kind of get stuck in the fourth dimension. That to me is that middle area. That's the way that I see it. I may not be describing it as somebody else would describe it, but yet their description and my description comes together to kind of be the same thing. You know what I mean? Just a different, like you said, viewpoint or vantage point, looking at it. But a lot of those souls are in that fourth dimension, and in the fourth dimension, there's some crazy stuff in there. That's actually the fourth dimension is the portals that lead, like, for instance, that Bigfoot travels through to get to another portal. A lot of aliens use that to come and to mask themselves behind veils or interdimensional, to actually work on the people, the alien people that are here on this earth type thing. And the way that they, the one lady that I had, where I walked in and there were aliens standing there, and they were literally behind her pulling like an old-fashioned telephone operator, pulling the thing out and then reconnecting it somewhere else, and she was just laying there like it was nothing. And there were these beings, but they seemed to be between me and a veil. But yet my blood pressure machine battery died, my cell phone battery died.
Wow. I had just draining the energy.
Exactly. But that's that middle area, where there are a lot of things in that middle area that are not pleasant.
Well, exactly. And this whole time I was listening to you, I was trying to get this one thing up, and this is what I think of since I've seen it. This is what I think of when I think of this type of thing. I thought it was a great thing. It's from the movie Ghost. And in the movie Ghost, I've even used it in, I think, a video that I did about dark and light, like which one will win, the one you feed.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple. Just like the black and white wolf, the Cherokee story, the whole deal. So I asked Lynn that question about these people that cross over, that don't have the information enough in their heart to say, you know what, I've done some really horrible things. I mean, just let a lot of it go, a massive amount to let it go. And this is what people will throw off real easy, kind of off the cuff, without even really thinking of it, and saying, okay, well, it's an end of life confession, or it's, needed to get it off his chest, or, it's funny how the prisoner, whoever found God in jail, in death row, or whatever it may be, doesn't matter. All of that makes sense when you think about, you've got to let a lot of this negativity go. You got to forgive yourself,
and others,
and just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so much lately in the past couple of years, I've just had to let go for my own sanity, to say, look, I can keep banging my head against the wall here, but I know me, and I've seen me go slap the heck off on stuff that just is so, you're ticking, and I know I'm gonna say something, I'm gonna do something, and I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to think that way. I don't want to, because it emotionally hurts. You just want to, but I learned, oddly enough, through herbs, because you can only tell people so many times, you can't chase after them and do it. And the one, total strangers would listen to me and just completely do a 180 on whatever it was. And it's not me, it's just information. I have nothing to do with it. It's like being a medium. I'm just in between. But the people you love won't listen, or think you're batshit crazy, or try it and then let it go. And you gotta let them. And it's the same in life with a lot of things. But this is what I always think of. I hope it'll play. Look at this. You see? When he dies, he was such a bad dude that everybody else in the movie, when they passed, they saw a light and they walked into it. You see what I'm saying? And again, whatever you might think of that, you know, believe or not, whatever, and that's fine. Everybody, I think, has their version. But it was to signify, of course, crossing over into the light, into the, wow, what's this? You know, wow, this is, you know, and then this whole, oh my gosh. And that's what Lynn is describing as far as they're seeing stuff and feeling stuff that's there, very real for them. We're not seeing that, or maybe you are, you know. And Steve Stockton describes something similar to what I had seen, was this black mass almost, you know, so it doesn't, some real shape, but not in some cases, but again, it doesn't matter. And it's just, it almost looks like it's just like in the Harry Potter crap, you know, we're sucking the soul out. And I put that in Cabin 22 too, because again, people laugh at this. Oh, Bigfoot's invisible now. Okay. You know, get that tinfoil hat. You got that tinfoil hat's crooked. Let me tell you something.
I like my tinfoil hat. Thank you.
At this point, honey, mine is a crown.
I know, right?
It's got big old honking gems in it. you know, that's how I feel, man.
Yeah, and people need to understand when they come to a podcast like this, this is upper level paranormal. This isn't the 101 class that we're trying to convince you, you know, that there are ghosts and things. This is definitely upper level. So there might be some people that do feel uncomfortable with it. And then you have the option to leave and, you know, or you can listen and as
put it in your back pocket.
Cisco said, you know, take from it what you can, what resonates with you that way. But you know,
no time left for bullshit, baby. I mean, it's here. It is. It's all on the table, and
that's true.
Some of it is freaking ugly, and some of it is ugly.
That's yeah. And when you put out this information, there are a lot of people that are drawn to the light like moths, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you know, I can't believe that somebody's talking about that. The same thing happened to me." And then so you make that connection, you repel some people, you make that connection with some people, but
that's
the seeds are always planted, you know,
so
that
true.
way.
So true.
But we are on this earth right now because we chose to be here. So most of us are incarnates. I don't know very many. I mean, I haven't run across very many reincarnates, and it is hard. It is hard here. We have so much fighting against us as far as negativity, trying to dub out the light. So God, you know, I mean, love and light to everybody. I mean, we are all in the same boat.
Okay, where is it, sweetheart? I'm looking. Who had the question? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Kathita has a question. Let's see here. Oh, okay. You shouldn't answer back to a phantom voice calling your name. I know it's bad juju, but that's all. Have you ever heard about this? Not answering back? I think that's, I don't know. You go first, Lynn.
You know,
you go first.
I've heard that too, that you don't respond to them. However,
like not answering the door.
Yeah. Well, you know, I get so fed up with, it's like my sister's got something going on in her house, and I'm flying out in the morning at 6 o'clock in the morning to go clear the house because my son's going to be living there for a little while. But it gets so old. When you're a light, they come like moths sometimes, because sometimes lost souls think that you can help, that you're an angel, you can help them cross over, which I can't help them cross over. We're all angels and lights. But yet in the same token, when I see something dark, I start sending them love. And you have never seen things run out of a room like there's a stench so fast. And I don't mean like I'm saying, oh, I love you. It's like, look, let me teach you about love. Come, I know that that's something that you don't have. And I'm still putting that love out there and not drawing that negativity to me. But it's so effective. You have never, ever seen negative spirits run out of a room so fast. If you're sitting there, and
So true.
You know,
Laughter.
and thank you,
And
Dixon. Yes.
yeah, and the blue just loves you in blue.
Oh,
So
thank you so much.
so yeah, there's so many good things in the chat. I hate to miss any of them, so I'm gonna go back over one more time just
And
because
I've got a fly flying around in here. You probably see him buzzing around my head.
it's like the Buddha trying to meditate on the side of the mountain, and the mentor telling the student, you watch and observe, and the fly is bothering the meditation and just buzzing around and landing and buzzing around and landing and all this other stuff. And he says, I understand you want me to be the monk. And he says, no, I want you to be the fly. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, wow. Yes.
It's wild. It's wild. Go back if you're bored and you're looking for something free to watch. Go back and watch a series or two of Kung Fu. There's so much brilliance in that about this thing. About now, I can't vouch for the way he died. I'm going to tell you that's one we're going to have to get into because that's no way for a man like that to, be. Anyhow, so anyway, let's not go there. So but there's so much wisdom in the writing.
There is. And self-control and self-control of your thoughts, self-control of your body, and all of those things that are so important to not be impulsive and to stay calm. That calm energy calms things. If you're raging, it exacerbates things. So it is really, really important to stay calm. And a lot of times too, when you're trying to tell people something and you're screaming at them, they don't hear you. They just hear the screaming, and they're getting ready to defend back.
Everybody's level is up. See, this is the deal. There's a great meme, and it was something that was done. Let me try to get this right. Okay, there was a peaceful, I don't mean really one. Just a bunch of people on the corner. I think it was parents protesting something, and they just had some signs, and they're singing, they're doing all kind of chill stuff like you're supposed to do. Like this in the 60s, we used to get together and okay. And then of course you got your agitators who are paid, just like they were back then too, to create agitation, and they got people listening. There's code levels on this. I'm not joking. There's like a stoplight. So you've got your green, your yellow, your red, your orange. And you've even got people that'll like get behind the peaceful protesters and then chuck a bottle at a police officer to start something and then nonchalant off and just mix into that. Listen, everything is tainted now, and you've got to watch your six. You got to watch everything. And what do I mean by all that? What I mean by that is tensions are high. But in this one meme that was similar to what I just described, this young kid that just thought he was really bad goes up to hit this guy who's just a dad there, chilling, wearing the sweatshirt, and he just turned around and he stopped the punch, and then looked and held it and just squeezed it there for a minute, held him and went, kind of like in these movies, and smiled, but gave this deep, true smile. And to me, in that, it kind of gave me an image to look at when I tell people, you've got to be the calm in the storm. You got to remember, like, kind of Roadhouse, kind of teach it. I know that sounds crazy, but think about it, being a bouncer. I've been this person as a bartender, as a bar manager, as a cocktail waitress, as so many different things. You've got to feel the tension. You got to feel the vibe in the room, feel the room. You've all heard it. And you got to try to assess what's best done here. And you've got to have that Roadhouse, be nice till nice no longer works, and be stern and then try nice again. And that man, he could have snapped this guy, you know what I mean, in two, in that high tension environment. And he held it. It's something to see. I wish I could find it.
It definitely takes more maturity and strength to do that, and it's better. Let's see here.
We're all doing that, honey. We're all doing that through our lives. I mean, I've talked to you on the phone where you rattled off, like, I want to say it was like 12, 13, 14, 15 things that happened to you just that day or the day before included, the last 48 hours. just things that you would go, oh, geez, girl, you get some chocolate, put your feet up, you know, put on some, maybe some Haagen-Dazs, and a spoon, whatever. Because here's the thing, you can't stop the shit,
No, that's true.
and what you said was basically true. You have to get these high vibrations and throw the love out there. And a lot of us are sitting here thinking, where am I going to find that? Where am I going to find that extra? Where did that guy find that extra, standing in the middle of that turmoil, chaos, to turn around and find enough forgiveness and love to try to look this kid in the eyes and say, but the smile was real. So it came from a place of that Roadhouse love. Roadhouse Love. I love that. God, is that a book title or what? Roadhouse Love. Nobody would know what they were getting into. We could really slide some shit on them. But anyway, you go ahead, sweetie. I love this. No. It's great. It's great because
I'm enjoying just hearing what you have to say too, because what we say it correlates together. It's backing each other. Backing each other up.
And it's the downloads. When we get together, our energy starts mixing and our thoughts start mixing. We're getting all these downloads of like, oh, that's what that was. Oh, shoot. I didn't realize it went that deep. And all this at one time.
Yeah. Another thing too, that's really important that I got from my sister is to declutter. The clutter in a person's home represents chaos, and that has a negative energy in itself, that clutter. So declutter. A lot of times too, when people are trying to clear your house, if you've got clutter, they have a lot of places to hide. So it's not just cleansing yourself and cleansing, and cleansing your house with a blessing. You need to be able to clear out that negativity that is stymieing you as well. So all of those things are so important, the actions and the thoughts and that sort of thing too. I see a lot of people as patients that I'll go into, and they're in a bed in their living room because they can't get into their bedroom. A lot of times they have a little bit of a hoarding problem or whatever, but and then their sickness, because they aren't ambulating, getting around, they end up stuck in a bed in their living room type thing. And a lot of it is the chaos.
Negative spirits love chaos. Negative spirits love filthy. They love dirty. Just think of them as cockroaches. Yeah. And you turn on the light, they don't like light. That's why so many stories you hear, I turned on the light and they disappeared.
Yep.
It's not just because you've changed the physics of the room where you've added light into the darkness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pun intended. Yes. It's the fact that they don't like it. It's just like they don't like laughter. So if you can't get to the point of, let me throw love at them. I know it sounds insane, but so many things,
believe it.
You're looking into the face of this evil, whatever it may be. And it's, I don't even want you to picture it. Mm-hmm. And you say, it's hard to say love, but you can sing Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
There you go. Start laughing.
I had something outside my door, and Steve Stockton, every time he tells certain stories, things happen. And I'm like, and if I forget about it, because we just ease into the conversation and he says it and he tells it, and I'm like, oh man, I forgot all about that. I had a knock. I'm walking to get coffee in the morning. I walk by and just knock on the door. Holy crap. I dare you not to jump. I never get, and I was walking right by it. I stopped and I jumped and I thought, because I'm trying to assess my situation, before coffee. And I was on my way to get it. And that's not me at my best. And I'm trying to sort it in my head, and I just screw it. Jeremiah, what? I just busted out and I started singing this, and I'm dancing. I did a whole, I did a bunch, and it hurt, but I did it, and it went away, but I never opened the door. So answer your question, Kathita. I know it took me a long time to come around to it, but I would say don't answer it. Yeah. Because for two reasons, not because I think, I'm thinking more like possibly like the invite, the, something that has to be invited in. I'm thinking that
Yes.
with a little bit of, okay, you want my attention. I know there's nobody here. What else you got to say? Because whatever happens next, are we going to finish this? And then I forever just look back and go, what'd you want? Just say it. And I'm throwing that kind of thing out there. Like, what? You see what is it? But the same that I would do with kind of the living that I wasn't expecting, and I'm trying to assess before I make a move. Again, Roadhouse kind of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kung Fu. Think calm, be the fly. Think
That's
about
true.
this. Think about this. Anything that you walk into, if you're in a situation, is what do they want? Is it a trickster?
Mm-hmm.
Is it something trying to throw you off and get a fear thing? So you're giving it more stuff.
Yep.
If you could get to that point using something silly like Jeremiah was a bullfrog, or joy to whatever it may be that you want to sing. I don't care what it is. As long as it's uplifting quickly, vibrationally, whoa, like it could, I don't know, name another song that does that just instantly off the top, and pick it, go and dance with it, because now you're changing your energy. What you're really doing is reloading your gun.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yep.
And if you can just train yourself to do that, even if it's in the car and the asshole behind you is beeping the horn, your entire body wants to get out of the car and walk slowly and become big like a cat or an animal would in the wild, and just throw your shoulders up. And my kids swear to God I could do that. He said, when you come at me, you just get bigger. Like the cats and stuff, where they poof up their tail and they try to appear. Your whole persona is doing this. Once you cross that and you're in it, it takes a lot to just do a complete Yui and get out of it quick without finishing something. And you never know what's going to be on the other end. If you're going to do that, you're putting everything on the table. You don't know today, you don't have to do anything. So think about that. Once you snap, once you've fallen down, that's a great movie to watch for this. The Fallen Down, the Michael Douglas. It's hard, right? And it's the same thing. We're telling you, Lynn is saying that some people don't want to cross. I mean, I'm on the battlefield with, ghosts who didn't want to cross, or people that fear that they didn't want to cross. That ashes sometimes, probably mostly, hold the negative that stayed back. Now, I'm going to say some of these people take that negative with them too. It's a mix, right? And again, individuals, it's going to be a little different with the dosage there, right? What's in it. If you think about it that way, it's strange but true. Are some people going to be like this guy we saw in the GIF, where things that are dark and nasty come and get him and take him where he needs to go? Or is that an energy he created himself, like a poltergeist from the other side? Lynn, what do you think?
I think so. And a lot of times too, what you imagine that you're going to see is what you will see. So because they want that comfort level there, when you do end up, crossing over, if you believe, Japanese people have different beliefs than say Italian people do.
Yes.
And one's Catholic, one's not, and they believe in their ancestors and stuff being on the other side, and then the Catholics believe in the saints and all of those things. So a lot of it is also what you see, but everything exists. It all exists.
I'm going to say it. Damn it, that's okay.
Yeah.
This is what they've used to divide us for millennia. Was my God's better than your God? My culture's better than yours. This one's better than yours, and they started separating us. Probably, I don't know what, from the Tower of Babylon, or beyond.
Pretty much.
I mean, think about it. We only know what's written down and what they've told us. So it goes deeper than that. It goes longer than that. It goes back farther than that, and they took out all the good stuff.
Yes.
And
they don't manipulate people.
They don't freaking want you to know how powerful you are, how connected to the light you are, how powerful thought is, how powerful things like leaving behind your ashes. We always say, the soul isn't there anymore. They're not there anymore, but essence of them is. And I think this is what ghosts are too. It's an
Mm-hmm.
animated essence, because your material body would be, of course, one part. That's something you jumped in and borrowed, like a car,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
seriously, like a car,
Mm-hmm.
and but you've got something there. Of course there's energy in that, because there's energy in a ring you wore for 30 years of marriage. There's energy in a chair you sat in and watched The Price is Right and The Wheel of
Oh,
Fortune or
yes.
whatever the hell. There's energy in the bed you slept in,
Oh,
let alone
yes.
died in. How people can buy these, and you don't know
Yeah.
what. I think about it, you know
Yep.
even a couch.
Yep.
And I'm not saying I never would, but you got to think about it.
That's
Test it
right.
out, feel it out, like a house. Buying a
Absolutely.
house, you've got to walk through it. Look, we've been looking at, different houses stuff. That one, it was pretty chill till I got up in the attic and the hair started standing up in my arms, and I'm like, yeah, okay. And the whole time I'm kind of chuckling and laughing, because I'm thinking, okay, what are we dealing with here? you know and and
Yeah.
and you don't really you're not really there to sort that right now, so you're just kind of like putting off to the side, and just doing a preliminary, like, okay, it's wondering what I'm doing too, and I'm kind of laughing at it,
Mm-hmm.
noticing, and thinking, okay, listen, in my mind I'm saying, you don't understand. And I'm not saying it out loud. I'm laughing and yammering on about some of the beams or some shit. And the whole other time I'm talking to this other thing, saying, listen, you don't understand. If I decide to buy this house, the people I will bring in here to fuck you up. If you decide to pull
I
any
know, right?
shit with me, I swear to God, I will have people lining the block with candles, and you'll hear them singing, before they ever see him. And
Yes.
it's understanding what I'm putting down. I'm like, I don't even want this house. Don't start none, won't be none. This And nobody knows that this is going on, and I'm doing this. And then the real estate agent looks at me and she goes, my hair's standing up my arms, and I'm like, yeah, we got it. It's good. Yeah, it's just like,
Yeah.
because it was just one of those things at the same time. So please don't tell me that these things don't understand, that they're not telepathically understanding what you're putting down, not just with
Mm-hmm.
your energy, with your thoughts, with your vibration. It's like, again, it's the person behind you beeping the fucking horn. You want to get out of that car. Dude, I've done it. I can remember one guy got behind me after I had so many things that happened that morning, getting the kids to school, and I had to drive them to school. And I've got my husband's Harley black leather jacket on. It was 2 sizes too big for me. I had a 1980s perm, lots of it, to the point of Twisted Sister would go, damn girl, I mean, like that hair. And it was, again, I'm drinking my first coffee, and this guy behind me does something. I had it in a mug. And he does something, made spill coffee on me, and then
Ooh.
had the audacity to beep his horn at me. I was like, screw it. Somebody's going to jail. I mean, it was that kind of day. I've been there. I know me. I've seen me do it. Now, I was
Mm-hmm.
younger then. I still feel in my heart of all hearts, I can still do the same thing, except the big difference wouldn't be my physical ability or my muscle memory or whatever. The whole thing, the whole thing would be just basically, I just know that it's going to cost me. And
Yes.
I'm supposed to do what the guy said, the guy in the picture did, where he smiled at the kid and go, please don't make me do this, kid. It's going to cost us both. And it's not just charges or this or that or what it could turn into, because people are wackadoo crazy batshit nuts right now.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Tensions are
absolutely.
high. So you guys got to understand this. So when you go out into the world, you can stand in that chaotic mess of the eye of the storm and just smile and go, okay, I understand this stuff. We're bigger than this. You know what I mean? And we can rise above it and just manifest yourself kind of out of it. It really works, does it not, Lynn? Look what you
Yes.
just been through. But look at you here, you know? And it's not to say you didn't go through, so many physical the drain of the physicalness of it, because that's part of it. It's meant to break you down. But
yeah,
you did it. You did it.
it
And
is. And the funny thing is I found myself consoling more people than people consoling me, because I didn't need to be consoled. You know
so
what I'm
true.
saying?
So true.
So, I mean, I
Making
feel
them
her
feel
around,
better.
exactly. I feel her around me all the time. She's not dead to me. So it just, yeah. Another thing too, that was a message that I had gotten is, we already know that what we eat causes cancer. Okay, it does. And the combination and how you're,
Blinking causes cancer.
yes.
Blinking
Well, how,
too fast causes. I'm not
well,
making light. I'm not making
yeah,
light. I'm just trying to, Roadhouse
right.
love. Roadhouse love.
That's
Go
right.
ahead.
It's, um, and you can take this with a grain of salt or not. I love popcorn, but what the message that I got is that my father actually presented, and he said, "You'll never guess what causes cancer." And I'm like, "Well, what?" And he said, "Corn." He
Corn.
says,
Oh
"Do you
yeah.
remember all of the popcorn that we used to eat?" And I'm like, "Yeah," but then I started to notice
The stuff
all
in
of,
it.
well, the corn syrup, it's in bread, it's in, you know,
Corn oil.
yeah, corn oil. Corn oil is one of the first things they take away from you when you get cancer, because it's of the
Oh, she did.
effects.
You're
And
not wrong, girl. You're not. And
yeah,
now it's the cottonseed oil too. Look, it's in
yeah,
everything. It's in everything. Stay away
yeah,
from it.
yep. The corn
Read
syrup's and
what you're
everything
putting
too.
in your body. I'm no saint.
Hmm.
You put a Snickers in front of me. Life
Oh,
expectancy of
it's
a
on.
Snickers, and look, I've avoided
Mine's
certain things.
payday.
And when I say I'm done, I'm done. Oh, that was my mama's favorite. Hi, mom. That was my mama's favorite. Every once in a while, we'll have one for her. It's like I'm thinking of, Grandma Peggy today. I'm gonna have a payday for her. I'll have a Fifth Avenue for my grandma. If I know, and I'm telling you, it's crazy, but it helps. It helps you and helps them.
Mhm.
But Kathina's saying she did answer though.
Well, just don't
When
answer
somebody called,
again.
yeah, don't answer again. Just listen. Nothing negative can remain. It must rebuke that shit, mean it, stand your ground. Only positive can be around you. Light some sage, light some incense, do a dance, put some salt, cut an onion up, put it in all four corners of you, whatever. All
Mhm.
of it works, but it only works if you believe it works. And it's over. Whatever happened before, just don't listen. I don't like welcome mats anymore because of vampires. Because I
Oh,
think,
yeah.
because I'm just think, listen, they have stretched the rules so much. It's like you think about it.
Mhm.
So don't take any chances. But if something like that does happen, get your song ready, practice in front of the mirror, get the hairbrush out, little microphone action, just have it at the ready. Consider it that it's like going to the shooting range. You got to know your weapon. I'm not joking. Because listen,
It's true.
before coffee, I'm walking down my hallway. You got to understand this. And something knocked on my door. After Steve Stockton was telling certain stories, yeah, he was telling about the black eyed kids and stuff. Every time he does that,
Mhm.
something happens to me. So, and I just started singing Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog. And the reason was I had it in my toolbox. I knew about this, and it's a go-to default setting,
Yes.
So get one of those and pick one, and then maybe next week come back and tell me what song you picked. And
Right.
maybe somebody who doesn't have one can come up with one. But it's got to be something on the top of your head, very tired, because this is when these bastards hit. When you're
Yes.
off your game, when you're asleep.
Yeah, oh, yes. It's a mind reset too. Definitely a mind reset. And if you know
Yeah.
ahead that you're going to go into a negative direction, and you've got that song to immediately say, nope, not going there, and you
Yep.
force yourself to go off in a different direction. And yes,
So
you
true.
are vulnerable when you sleep.
Yep.
Man, it's just, yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
sleep much at my sister's
Why do
house,
you
that's for
think?
sure.
Holy shit, man! Why do you think they told us to pray before we went to sleep? Where do you think that custom comes from? Oh,
Yep.
that's religious. I don't want to do that. I don't buy all that stuff. Really, really. Get somebody who reads auras.
Hmm.
Just no bullshit here now. Come on, we're ready to hear the truth, right? Get
Yep.
somebody who reads auras of somebody that's laying in whatever in a peaceful area, and before prayer and after, during, intense. because you are connecting with a higher vibration. You're not only admitting that there's other things greater than you. Come on, think about it.
Mhm.
Something's going on, right? And you are connecting to the most positive, and you're releasing it, like we said, right, Lynn?
Mhm.
Releasing it, whether it's in the ashes or while you're passing or whatever, you're releasing it before people start to know, even animals.
Mhm.
And you're releasing that, and oh man, it's so amazing how incredibly complex it is, how amazingly put together,
Oh yeah.
how geniusly off the charts, you just so miraculous, beyond our thoughts, beyond, because I think we all get together on the other side in some quiet way without even realizing it, and that combined vibration creates this essence and power of love and just devotion and getting it, and just like, what, it's almost like being in a choir with no music, just a chamber choir, and you're writing the right acoustics, and everybody harmonizes that perfect note, and nobody is left without a chill. It's like that
Yes.
on steroids.
That
That's
is
what the
for
other
sure.
side, and it can be like that, or the other side can be like our friend here, getting drugged down. And like I said, I don't know if I think in the movie they were more or less trying to portray demons
Mhm.
that were dragging him down to hell. Let's be honest. That's what everybody thought when they saw it, right? But what if these are also a manifestation of all the nasty, dirty, underhanded, narcissistic,
Oh yeah.
psychopathic things this guy did, created this kind of energy, like a poltergeist can be
Mhm.
manifested in a home from people's energy.
Yes, it can.
What do you think about that?
Yes, as a matter of fact, when people talk about the dark shadow things, what I have seen that is manifested by people, again, through thoughts and their negativity, and sometimes illness too, and addiction, and things like that. But sometimes they look ovoid and kind of go across the floor with like a ruffling effect. They go up onto furniture. They can be mistaken as a cat. They show up as snakes, and they also show
Ugh.
up in people figures. But the thing is even if they're not, um, I don't, the word's not coming to me, but like completely finished, they still are platforms for negative things to enter on once they're matured. And the thing is I remember
That
when I
makes
was,
sense.
I remember when I was going through my divorce with my husband, and there was a lot of, even though there wasn't the fighting so much as there was just the negative, oh, you stay on your side of the house, I'll stay on mine kind of thing going on. We started to create this black formation thing that every day got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, the nice thing about
Yep.
those is they're easy to remove before it gets to that point. You want to remove that and clear it before it comes to the point that something more negative can enter into it or become like a poltergeist type thing. But it's a building thing. So it is important. And even if people, if they're, like you were saying, some people, oh, well, that's religion, with prayer. It's
That's
also
how they keep people from doing it. Why?
right.
It's simple and easy, and I'll shut up. Why in the world would the most evil, nasty, satanic fucking bastards
Mm-hmm.
not want you to know the power within you,
Mm-hmm.
to know the ability you have by doing something so simple, destroys them and expels the spells and everything else. You don't have to know anything else. You don't have to spell. You don't have to boil frogs. You don't have to do none of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Just send it, and send it in love. And if you don't find that you don't have words, use other people's words, like we said with the song, or laughter, jokes. Tell.
Yep.
It's harder to do. I think singing is easy, but maybe we got some, stand up. So hey, whatever. But that's why people are drawn to it too. When they're feeling down, you're naturally drawn to make me laugh, we'll feel better. We went out, we laughed a little bit, we got around in a room full of people laughing. And then they even tried to take that away from it by turning slow. And again, I'm no prude, but if you look at the decades of how they've taken even simple jokes that used to have a hint of things to them, they've even done, and don't think it's not programming. They've even gone to this, boosted this whole thing where everything is more now shock jokes. And now you don't have the same kind of laughter. Now you have anxiety in the audience, and you've got people that are feeling uncomfortable, right? Next to
Yes.
other people that are enjoying themselves, like some people that would watch Jackass and things like that. But those people are laughing out of nervousness. It's not the same thing. So even that has been infiltrated. And then you've got like the movies, you can name anything, the TV programs, the movies, the music. We went from Let Me Call You Sweetheart to, I shot my,
Yeah, let's not.
10,000 different things, I mean, some of these songs are like an anatomy lesson, at the zoo or something. I mean, it's insane,
Yep.
and I mean, explicit stuff to downgrade people, not only the people, like say you've got in some of the rap and things like that they put together. We can make a story about that, and it's just because of what the music industry got people to do. Said, if you're gonna get this contract, we're gonna tell you what kind of stuff to put out there, and yada yada, blah blah blah. It's narrative, folks. It's programming, and listen, I know of a meeting where that actually happened, and I can tell you that very few people got up and walked out and said no. Most people sat in the chair and said, yeah, I'll sign it. What do you want me to say? And that's why you have this all at the same time. The movies amp up at the same time. The books that they back and advertise come out at the same time. The things in the headlines you're seeing at the same time. The TV programs that are allowed to be out at the same time. It's a shift in the narrative. And you think it's harder to do right now because there's so many different outlets. It's not like we have 3 channels and a one movie theater downtown. And everybody talks about it at the same time. It's an instantaneous spider web that just shoots out information in every direction, and sometimes they're connected and comes back around, but all the layers are dispersed at the same time, and they're continuous and overlapping and going back on each other and coming back around. And they've got you on this like you're spinning freaking plates. Am I right, Lynn? You remember the guy that used to have the sticks, and he would spin the plates, and they would balance them, and there'd be plates spinning all over the place? I used to see him all the time, like Mike Douglas, Merv Griffin, and shit. Yep. But it's like that's what they're doing. Well, you can't drop a plate. You're just a human being out there trying to keep your plates from breaking. And sometimes some of us are carrying other people's plates too. Think about it.
Yeah.
And you're spinning all these different things. You're like, I'm done. What happens if you just let go and drop it? Maybe catch a couple, maybe keep 1 or 2 that are really close to you spinning, but the rest of them, like Lynn says, declutter. I've got to do that now. I'm going through it now. It's a hard thing. Nobody wants to get rid of grandma's whatever. I'm just saying, pick some things. Don't they say go through it, pack it, and don't seal it, then go through it again and throw out half.
Yes.
Or give it to somebody.
It's important for your health too. I mean, in your physical well-being. Right, exactly. Well, there's a spiritual cleanliness too that you need that I mean, having that negative vibration, that negative energy around you, I mean, it can make you sick. I mean, it brings on depression. It causes you to alienate from other people because you don't want them to come over and see your mess. So you separate yourself from socializing and connecting with other people with positive energy and things like that. Mm-hmm. So it's important. And not only that,
so true.
Oh my God, my sister was a pack rat, and man, after having to deal with my mother and my sister going through that, I can tell you what, I am fine-tuning my house because I don't ever want to put somebody through that.
Wow.
Seriously.
Yeah. It's rough. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to hit that music. But yeah, it's the truth. And it's not only that, it's for you
Yeah,
too. I
it
mean,
is for you.
I don't know a single, let's just say, rescue medium or someone, and that could be anything. Again, it could be a psychic medium. It could, we got to just broaden everything. Going into a home and, you know, it's just all these things are coming at me at once, guys. I'm telling you, when Lynn and I get together, I must have 7 things coming at me at once that they want. It's like everybody's talking at the same time.
You're
Say this, say
downloading.
this, say this, say this, say this,
Yeah.
say this, say this. And I'm like, whoa, dude. The way that mediums are and psychics and people like this, everybody tries to say, look, you're getting a message from such and such, and they need you to know this. In most cases, and Lynn will back me on this, in most cases, it's all about that higher vibrational thing, the love. Yeah. And
Yes.
it's tell her it's okay, tell her I'm okay, tell her I love her. Or that their person, their loved one, might know them better and saying to them, the bananas aren't ripe enough, is saying what I just said, because that person knows that the person receiving the information is going to go, how in the what? But it's going to do more than one thing. It's going to do a validation. Never would that person be able to deny that this information came from, because they're going to go through the thing. They're going to, the shock, the processing, the what the hell, the reprocessing, the sorting of that process. It's just the way the mind goes when something like this happens. But they're going to, on the drive home or whatever, they're going to say to themselves, the bananas weren't ripe enough. And they're going to look and they're going to remember that the husband was picky on the bananas, say, and he would have told her when she got home that, I can't use those. The bananas aren't ripe enough. And it was their thing. It was their thing. And she knows, and that washes down over her. And she now has, for the rest of her life, that ability to put a little pep in her step and maybe sleep a little bit better. And maybe her wonder is, maybe she becomes one of us where she's seeking answers to the afterlife and to ghosts and, what was that? And, and they want you to hit those walls of psychics are all charlatans. Herbs don't work. There are no herbal cures for anything. The food's just fine. We're just making more of it. We're putting chemicals in it so it'll reproduce and do this other stuff. And, for the weather and, to last in the weather and all that stuff. But by the time we're done with it, what we wind up with and what we started with are so far apart, like they have us. By the time they're done forcing control with religion and making us fight about it, how long have the Protestants been fighting the Catholics for the love of all that's holy?
I know, right?
How long? How long have people beaten the hell out of Quakers because Quakers didn't want to fight? How long have, one country or one for the love for a religion that stands for love and brotherhood? It blows my mind. How can we not see it's a sham? And it doesn't mean it's a sham because none of what they said was true. The little bit of good stuff that they left through there that made it worth going through all their bullshit to achieve, that's real. That's real. They're just trying to muddy it up with all of their crap so we won't believe in it. And we're easier to manipulate. You have no faith. You have no standing. You have no foundation. So they can knock you over and they can say, but you can believe in us. And we're here. We're here to help. So glad you don't believe in any of that. All that, woo-woo shit. You're a smart person.
And be
right?
sure to bring your money with you to put in the tray.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
because it's
Yep.
all about
There you go.
politics and
Yeah.
money. So
Yeah. So pay your way in. Pay your way
yeah,
past
yeah.
the hat.
I had living when I was living in Asheville area, there was a Nazarene church which is Baptist affiliated, and then another Calvary Baptist church, which is another form of Baptist, but they're two different. One's Nazarene, one's and they were on the same street, just like maybe within 3 blocks of each other, and they were both arguing over which one was correct. They're both Baptist, but they're arguing over which one's going to heaven and which one's correct. But it's all about, you know,
Yep.
bringing the people here so that they can bring your money too. And you know, it's become so much of that a lot of the good things get missed. So
it's so true, man. And if you think about it, it's so incredibly simplistic.
yes,
That's what blows my mind. And to get to this point and look back, look, dude, last week, as choppy as the damn recording I did was, I mean, I had the last minute, you know, that's people don't understand what goes on behind the scenes of the podcast, even, you know, this level of I don't give a shit podcast. Look, I'm here. This is what I got to say. You know, join us, don't join us, turn us on. I love that you're here. We respect everybody. But here's the thing. And people tell me all the time, you got to do this to get more subscribers. You got to do this you got to go in here and get into a 5-hour conversation that lasts for 72 hours and be a psychiatrist for somebody and fix it because you look, dude, you know me. I love you. You know what I'm saying? I'm here because I'm old. I have learned some shit. I am trying to put it out there that it may help somebody. If it will end somebody's grief or ease their pain or
yeah,
have them read an herb book or an ingredients on freaking peanut butter or you know understand that yes, grandma probably did come and visit you because she loves you and love never ends and
that's
she
true.
was thinking of you at the same time that your vibration was just right, and that's when she was able to show up maybe better than last time where she just knocked over the picture. I can't explain all that. All I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you is it has to do with energy. I can tell you
It
that
does.
love never dies. I am never been more sure of anything in my entire 61 fucking years.
That's true.
I can tell you that human beings mess up every day. I struggle every day not to leash that monster because
Mm-hmm.
again, my 6-year-old self wants to get out and out of the car the same just like that 30-year-old. And the biggest thing is also other people in trouble was always big for me because I'll jump in quick. I was bartender. I was done all that. I was military for Pete's sake. I wanted to be an MP. And quite honestly, at the time, I wanted to be an MP so I could empty out bars and kick some drunk butt because I was an angry teenage chip on my shoulder, pissed off youth. So I understand people who are packed with aggression, right? Not many people get to live to this stage to look back over something like that and say these things. So it's important that we do when we get a chance, right, Lynn? We've
That's
all been
true.
put in these spots for a reason to learn things to tell other people. I think
That's
it'd be
right.
extremely selfish if we didn't share them, even if
That's
we don't
true.
completely understand it, you know? So here it is. Pick it up, put it down, don't ignore it, do whatever, you know? I'd love for you to hit the like. I'd love for you to, you know, drop
Subscribe.
a subscription down there. I'd love for you to get to know some people in the chat. So next time you come, you feel like you're meeting a friend, you know? But here's the deal. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to change things. I'm not going to stop doing. I am at the capacity of my tech. You know, and many people have, and I'm learning all the time, but you know, so many things, irons in the fire at the same time. I don't have producers. I don't have, you know, all this other stuff. I don't have writers. I don't have people to edit for me. This is stone cold hard truth in your face, real, you know, reality. I'm not going to lie to you at this point, you know? So, and if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong, but I'm not going to omit things that are going to upset you. I'll tell you ahead of time, but you got to know your enemy. And there's some dirty bastards.
Yes, that's true.
These are just, and the hardest thing not only are they lying to you about this religion thing to separate people, not
Mhm.
only are they separating us by hair color and eye color and
Skin color,
choice
yeah,
of
all of it,
music,
yeah.
all of it is because when we get together and realize how damn alike we are, and that we feel the same pain and we fear the same fears, and a lot of us want the same things. Most of us just want to be left the hell alone because, you know, because we just want to enjoy our life and we want to enjoy the happy things. And we know, but dude, if you don't understand how dark these people are, that's the biggest lie. Because so much complacency has allowed it to go for so long that now it's rooted into so many damn direction. And you got to take this crap out by the root. So imagine, it's not hopeless. It's not hopeless at all. This is what it is. It's time that every light worker stands up and says, done. This is the light. You can't beat it. You can't separate us. If that's all that we have in common, I don't give a
That's
crap
true.
anything else. We know our power. We know our choices, everything. Did you see Nefarious yet? Lynn, have you
No,
seen it?
no.
You have to watch it. I know you saw The Ravine.
Yes, I did. I
Can you
loved it.
give us a little bit of what you remember of that and what
Oh
that movie
gosh,
meant to you? What it meant to
I
you?
I actually watched it twice. The ending, the twist at the end, where again this man had murdered. He had murdered his family, or his wife actually, and how he was for not forgiven at the well. I mean, when he went through his life review, he
Thanks,
had a
Kathita.
guide with him, and he came forward, and other things were shown where you could have that forgiveness for him, because you just have no idea. A lot of people that are doing horrible things on this earth are placed here to allow other people to meet their karma. So, and that's kind of what it was trying to say. I guess those are
Yeah,
the words that I'm looking for, is that it was, they're sacrificing their life here so that you and a couple of other people can meet their karma and learn. And
it's
also to
crazy.
what
It's true. It's true.
Cisco was saying about, yeah, about younger people and things like that. If you take a minute to listen to somebody that's been around a while, I mean, you can go from first grade to eighth grade a lot faster than having to trip through all of the grades,
Oh, well said.
that way.
And again, we're not standing up saying all these things, but we're not going to sit here. We know. Do you remember that part I told you? Can you read it? That was you, right?
List of books by author Lynn Monet, thrift books. Actually, my books are on my website on www.lynnmonet.com. Not all of my books can you get even on Amazon, but you can get all of them on my website.
Here you are on
Um,
Coast to Coast.
yes, that's me. Yeah.
How nice.
Actually,
Here's the
I'm.
Amazon.
There we go.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Amazon has the books.
The
My
lovely
website has
Kathita,
the books.
everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Kathita. I appreciate that
All
very
the
much.
mods are great here. All the people are great
So,
here. I
and
mean, and so much input. And again, if I miss it, please forgive me. When I get minutes, I go through, and I'm not ignoring what the guest, your family, is
we're
saying. Lynn is
sisters.
saying it was sisters, but you know what? We all are, and
Mhm.
you know,
We
except
are.
for those who aren't and are brothers. But
Yes.
the reason I hesitated there is because I actually am called brother by so many people, and it means, you know what it means? It's so deep because it's so native. It's so different tribal culture. It's whether the tribal culture is in the military or squad or you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
different, and it means like this to me. It's like
Mhm.
there's sign language with the indigenous peoples, and basically you'll see it in a lot of movies where they hit their chest twice like this and then go like this, and it means brother, good journey, go with God.
Mhm.
And it's so beautiful. But you can get with anybody. I bet you I could go get, I don't know how I would get there because I ain't flying, but like go to Africa and show up, and if that was all I could say, well, they'd probably either shoot me with an arrow or they would get it, because it's so cool and it's so beautiful, and just kind of like, you're part of my heart. You're a brother, you know, and you can add that little flurry in there. But it's just, that's what it means to me. And when I was in the military, I was, Band of Brothers,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't change that. It starts screwing around with the meaning. And there's so many things that they're doing that now with, that's doing the same thing. And again, it's to divide, and it's to confuse, and it's to just fuck around and find out, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what's going to happen. But anyway, it's also to split you off. So think about what I said before. Let's go back to that a moment and see again. I want to see what Lynn thinks about this. Is those movements of movies and books and things that you're seeing all at the same time. Have you ever thought about that? That there has to be something behind that. That everything would go. I guess what I'm saying, it's not organic. It's not
No.
a natural thing where one spawns off the other and causes this ricochet of all TV shows to go to a certain thing. Like, think how many TV shows on Netflix right now can you name that has something to do with black magic, the
Yeah.
dark arts, Lucifer, making you feel sorry for the, like, sympathy for the devil,
Mm-hmm.
just anything. You could throw in cannibalism, you could throw anything that's a taboo at this point. Let's just say it that way. Anything
Yes.
that's a taboo,
Mm-hmm.
you could go from gambling. Why do you think there's so many gambling apps out there? Not just because they make money. Why do
Mm-hmm.
you think that there is a TikTok? Think about TikTok. Let me tell you something. Different countries, that's different in different countries. You know what it's like here in America? This is what, let me break it down for you. You have young people who are coerced, led, encouraged
Yeah.
to do short 30-second bursts, convince them that here's the love you never got from whatever, the acceptance you never got from whatever, be a part of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, this is a fact now. I'm not just talking out of my,
No, this.
there are paid people that are paid to follow bots, AI, you name it. And they're like, picture somebody sitting in a room and a wall of cell phones, and they put it, and they 50 cents a hit all day. Okay. And that little movement goes out to all those phones, and then that goes out. Okay. These people are paid to do this. It's a known fact. Look it up, research it. Now they've got money. And now, because they're controlled, they can throw out via stories, emotional things that they send in that direction, twinge your heart stuff. Here's the new campaign. Here's the new whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Push this, talk about this. And they don't even know where it's coming from. Again, this is true. And now they're hooked up on the money. Sure, they're making money, but they don't realize too that they are being used as a pawn to set the narrative, to have people shift their conscious shift this way. It's propaganda. And they're being paid by somebody you would consider your enemy. Absolutely
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, no, I've heard about that too. Yes, somebody was just talking
It's
about
that
this,
deep.
I think, recently. Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. It's that deep. Every
It is.
magazine going way back to the 50s is owned, run, produced, the whole shebang by something with 3 letters. Also, National Geographic was entirely started. This is some, pardon my French, but this is some ball busting shit right here. I mean, this is like low blowing stuff. Was set up because how easy it is it for a camera crew to say, we're just here to film the tigers. Pay no attention to the guy behind that camera. And surveillance and recon being done in other countries by certain people.
Yes.
With 3
Yeah.
letters. And it's all of it. And it's all at the same time. So if you understand that, you can stop fighting about religion, and you can stop fighting. Listen, I had a guy on here on Easter night. The last 3 minutes of the show on Easter night. Now, again, respecting everybody's things, whether you celebrate chocolate or Peeps or Jesus on the cross, rise, again, or spring, again, all happy stuff. This man told everybody that Jesus was, and by the way, Jesus was an alien. Good night, everybody. And everybody just went, what? Now, again, if you step back that 40,000 foot view, how do you know? Because my mind right away went through, well, if I was picking a soul, I'd have probably picked out of the Palladians because they're the most love-filled, again, and that would consider them an alien, which would consider it. Think about it. We know what we've been told, but what did they allow us to hear? And if we get in there on semantics and things like that, look, we could go all day long about, should I stone my mother if she wears 2 different fabrics on a Sunday? I got to sit down and think about that. There's some crazy, think about, but again, where's the love? I'll tell you where to find it. And I think, because a really smart dude came in and told us all the things we're basically saying tonight. I'm just saying. And today, and you're hearing that from somebody who was walking in a store, and I walked by some beautiful books. We were looking at them. I love books. I love the smell of books. I love just information. And it was Buddhism. And I'm like, man, there's some beautiful stuff in there. Before I even opened it, that's what I expected to see, because there is. But they've separated us. And they've made us fight about this stuff. And I'll tell you something. It doesn't matter over there, does it, Lynn?
No, it doesn't. I've seen Baptists, Jewish people, Jehovah's Witnesses, Presbyterians. I mean, they all go to the same. They all do transition, unless they choose not to. So they still have that freedom of choice. But it doesn't matter. And the similarities are the same. They see the loved ones coming in and talk about it. I mean, I told you the story about Abigail, and then the lady that was blind too, seeing their loved ones come in. My sister saw the loved ones come in, even though they were more at the head of her bed because she was in the intensive care unit. I saw them coming in. So, it just, and again, there were also spirits there again that appeared to be from somewhere else. Just like with my mother. And, there, as I've said before, there are so many galaxies and so many other solar systems out there that it would be ignorant for us to think that we're the only ones. And those beings, when they finish their cycle, wherever it is that they're at, they're also made of energy, and they have to go somewhere too. So they kind of show up there as well. And it's not like the bug ones. It's the ones that look kind of like us. They're beautiful, white, luminescent hair, very, very tall, without wings. And they're also over there assisting. And even if a person's talking about somebody in the room that the rest of the family doesn't recognize.
It's okay, baby. Is your phone dying? Is your phone dying?
Yeah, it is actually. Yes. And
you just go ahead and you finish up. We won't keep you, man. I can't believe that was how did that happen? 2.5 hours already.
Oh yeah, no,
That's insane. It's
been great. I forgot what I was saying. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You were talking about the passing over and crossing over, and people, that you saw everybody.
Yes.
When your sister came over, and maybe I don't know. Did you remember what you were going to say? Because I was going to say, if you could describe that for the listeners, the way, did you see like the wall thin? Was it more like something like came through the wall? Was it more like a light where it just, or did it feel more like the two worlds were melting together for a moment?
It was more like the two worlds were melting together for a minute, because it's like heaven and earth met, and there was just that thin film of the interdimensional veils, that then she was also there, and I could see them on the other side. The setup in her room was different than it was for my mother. My mother was laying in a bed and she had a whole room to herself. And with my sister, of course, there's the intensive care unit, everything's beeping in the curtains. So they came in more towards the head of the bed, and they usually always come in more towards the upper part of the bed. For some reason, it must be an energy connection type thing. But it just,
psychic archaeologist. Psychic archaeologists. What a cool question. Are there any psychic? I think there must be. Like, I
What?
would say somebody somebody that found a body that was buried or said a body was buried. That's kind of like a psychic. I don't know what you know what she means by that?
No, I'm sorry. You mean are they on the other side, or what do you mean? Sorry.
I don't know. Can you clarify that for me, Sarah? Ask it again, baby. And we'll try to get to it. We'll try to sort it here, guys. I mean, I know it seems like we've yammered on, but here's what happened. We'll get downloads. Lynn and I will get together and we're going to talk about this. And we kind of chuckle because I'm like, yeah, sure. We're going to talk about what they want us to talk about. For some reason, the other side wants you to hear this. My guides are met with her guys. Like I said, Steve. It's like I think my guides meet with Steve's guides at least twice a week.
I'm sure.
Tattletale. But anyway, so Lynn, it happens and they go, okay, they're going to be on. They're going to have that energy. That flow is going to get with that chat. People in the chat are going to be connected. They're going to be into this. They're going to be listening and they're going to pick up information they will keep the rest of their life. And it's not
That's true.
I'm important. It's not that Lynn is important, not that you're not important. But you know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with us. We're just vessels right now trying to tell you these are secrets of the other side.
Yes, they are.
Almost if you had a room full of mediums in here. Now, some of them might have a little more detail of this. Somebody might have a little more detail over here, but everybody's pretty much going to tell you what we just said. It's up to you. If you want to visualize that cabin, if you're like to go to weddings, if you were whatever, but listen, you got to get there.
That's true.
That's just as individual as you are. And all the other people out there. And again, this is what ghosts are. And the same is true for them. Some create their own reality. They're going to have their own personality. They're going to have whatever is stuck with them. Like the ashes, Lynn said, the negative remains, right? There's not a whole lot of positive going on with an earthbound spirit who has not crossed yet.
No,
There are exceptions. There are exceptions.
They keep all of their mental illness. Their cause of death still shows. If they have addiction, they still keep it. And my phone's getting ready to die.
Baby. Love you.
Love you. And everybody, please give me some prayers. I'm going to be flying out at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm not really wanting to go on this plane flight, but now planes are cheaper than it is to drive. So and I've got to drive my sister's truck back. So
sweetheart. If you need anything, I'm here.
Let me tell you what, if that thing becomes a problem in that house, I'm definitely going to be calling out the cavalry. For sure.
I'll send it, baby. All I got to do is send out a blast and they will come around. I love you, baby. Thank you for coming back. This has been wonderful. I'm trying to find something nice to play us out. Go ahead.
Yeah, hopefully, maybe I can still be on this last Sundays I'm actually just coming back, getting back on the saddle. I'll be here again the last Sunday of the month. Yep. I am going to be restarting my podcast as well. And Cisco's going to be coming on next month. It seems that we're headed in the next month direction because this one continues to be interrupted, but it is called Synchronicity, the Next Level Paranormal. With Lynn Monet. And so I'll definitely keep you up to date on that. I'm revamping my website so that all of that can be put on there, as well as people that need consultations or want to schedule me for appointments for their show or things like that, as well as what I'm doing, so that people can follow along, and some of the links are there to the old stuff. So
love and light to you, baby.
Love
Everybody's sending you're getting the bacon and the hearts and the candles and the prayers up.
Love
for
you guys.
We love you too. Yes, every Sunday. The next Sunday Lynn will be on. We are going to have a guest together, and we're going to talk about all kind of earth spirits and Reiki energy and how to help get through all this muck and mire. But listen, this show is going to have a lot of episodes about the other side and what's going on here and all of this. And Lynn's going to be right here through the whole thing. We love you, sweetie. Good luck on your travels.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Time just flew. I'm telling you, time's speeding up, baby.
All right. It is.
Take care. My love all around.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Sorry it got dark, man, but the lights were just so bright. And it was just one of those times where you want to have a conversation. Kind of like in a dark pub, chilling. I got my pumpkin spice chai tea. I'm telling you what, this little sucker keeps it hot too. It's well worth it. Guess what's coming? Halloween. How many days to Halloween? It's got to be getting close. So that's the thing. God bless Lynn for all she does. And again, now omnipresent, and there's another, and I feel terrible. I don't know the subtitle of it, but it's a continuation of omnipresent. If you don't know, I will tell you if you're new here. Lynn bought a house, like I said, so haunted she couldn't move in. People she brought there were scratched. She went through multiple experiences there to the point of seeing something looking like a full on human being. She was getting ready to go second floor, coming out of the bedroom, like you do and you're headed for the stairs. As she got ready to go down the stairs, here comes this guy. She said it was almost completely solid. Like he was just walking up the stairs. She just stepped back and went up against the wall because somehow in that she processed the fact that she could see through parts of him, but he was enough full. So you know what I'm saying? To be, oh my God, somebody broke in my house kind of thing. But he also didn't acknowledge her presence. But in this wacky today world, you grab a hold of the railing and, kick somebody in the right back down the stairs again. I mean, how do you not move? You see what I mean? You're frozen. You don't know what to do. You're trying to process. And I think a lot of people get locked up in that, and you might jump before you too early and do something stupid, or you might just wait too long and now it's too late. I don't know. It's a terrible position to be in for the human psyche. It's like almost trying to stop a car accident. Your adrenaline, everything else is just like you're slamming on the brakes all at the same time, and you're trying to what move to make next. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that'll make or break you. And that's the reason I'm telling you, as silly as it sounds, pick a song. I saw some people somebody picked the thong song. Okay. As long as it's happy, uplifting, and the vibration is high. Does that make sense? That's a tool to put in your thing. And if you practice now, when you're really scared or something comes at you, or, even if you have to watch something like some of the news lately, and you're not really watching the news, but it finds, it gets into your space anyhow, and you're kind of like have to process that. Listen, there's a reason people sang in bondage. There's a reason people sang in the fields when they were working, whether it was the farmer, and the plow or whatever. I don't know. Do animals sing? Because they've been our beasts of burden for a very long time. And I often wonder how in the world they get through the crap humans have put them through and not have their spirit completely broken. And some did. Well, don't let them do it to you. We can sing. We can process. We can still have hope. And I think, like Rob Guttrow said so many times, and so many other people that are more focused in the abilities of animals and their communication, will tell you that a lot of animals tell them they came here just to show us how to get through this crap and to show us unconditional love, even when we're not at our best. So think about that. Think about the flower that grows in the crack of the dry, desolate road that looks like it leads to nowhere. Here's this flower just being a flower, just blooming. I know so many people like that. Lynn's one of them. Gone through a lot of hell, but seen so many things that just seem to be the universe allows her to see, so she knows this isn't it. So that she knows that things that we do in the moments matter. Things that we think in the moments matter. One of the throw me back in my chair moments in all my time in the supernatural, paranormal, metaphysical, whatever, was the moment I realized that thoughts mattered. Thoughts manifested reality in a lot of ways. And how you perceive that reality. That's the big one. like the lady sitting in the car. You could feel her anxiety as the jerk behind her is laying on the horn. Like in New Yorker. I got to get there. You're in my way. I have the right of way. It's my turn. Me, me, me. First, first, first. Get out of the way, you stupid driver. Sorry if you live in New York, but if you don't think that was spot on, you ain't paying attention. It's like up on your bumper for 15, 20 feet. Stop. Stop. And boy, if you don't go when they're ready to go, oh my God. Oh my God, look at this asshole. Dogs barking at you. I had that happen once. I had a dog cuss me out as the driver was yelling at me and running back. She got the dog in on it. I laughed my freaking ass off. I couldn't move the car because I was laughing so hard. So look at that shit. Ain't that something? And they think it matters to me. Don't let them in, folks. They only get in if you invite them. And that includes other human beings, especially the shitty ones, dead or alive. Sounds simple. I know, Sarah, right? So hopefully I answered your question. Oh, The Rose is pretty. The Rose is a beautiful song. But here's the thing. As beautiful as it is, and then that's more like Rose, like talking about love, and love has thorns and things hurt. Like every rose has its thorn, kind of. The Rose, I love The Rose. I used to love Bette Midler. You know, somewhere she she's just like, oh wow, that's so sad. Did she pass? You know, again, irrelevant. Some people are just, I like to cut people off at the time that they were cool and just remember them that way. Because if you can create your own reality, what difference does it make? You know, it's what you let in. It's what you let in. Of course, you get disappointed in people, but sometimes people come back around. You know I did. I had to go through my stuff, and a lot of people that we're seeing out there are going through their stuff. You don't have control of what other people do. You only have control of how you react to it. And I think if we think about that in the paranormal, and we think about the ravine, if you can get through the first 5 minutes and you're trying to figure out what is this guy doing, is he gonna like harm himself? I gotta be careful what I say here, you know, like the Harry Carey, you know, or is he? What did he do? He did what? You know, he just went in there and that whole thing. What? Oh my gosh, this guy's crazy. This is terrible. You got to move past that. You got to get to watch the whole thing, make yourself watch the whole thing, because by the time you're at the end, you're going to go, whoa. It's that important. It's that important. And the main message, forgiveness. You have to understand that all different souls are here. Some of them are all here. Well, all of them. As insignificant as you might think that they might be, whether they come in and go out real quick as a young child, or they're off like some gray man somewhere that's just this quiet dude that's a recluse off in the thing that you'll never hear about or never meet. Every soul is important, and everybody's here for a reason, even if it's just for that soul. But that's not how these things work. These things all are connected. And you have some very powerful people who that's their only thing. Power, 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 control, money, power, control, money. And they don't care how they get it. And they're caught up too. And it's what they believe is important. If they believe a date is important, it's important. We have dates we think they're important to each one of us, whether it be a birthday or something else, or a holiday, a moment in time. They do too. If they believe that doing certain horrible things to other living things, or casting spells, or doing whatever, it's what they believe. They're manipulating the same energy that you're manipulating. with your light and your and good intent. And if you watch Nefarious, which is an awesome movie that they don't want you to see, that's why you don't see billboards about it. What don't they want you to see? Because that guy sits there. He is on death row. The guy is sitting across from him is a psychologist, lawyer that is determining whether or not he is fit to die, which is the craziest shit you ever heard. But then again, it's a judicial system. So there you go. And as he's sitting there, he's telling the guy that he is a demon living inside of this dude. And it has control over this man and his soul and his choices and his life. And it is sour and direct and menacing and methodical and deep and evil and dark. And there's no splits on the face and eyes bulging out and pea soup coming shooting out and all these other things. It is subtle and is it in your face. It's as real as it real could be. And this guy is leaning in and twisting this dude. And showing him by saying little things like, before you leave this room, you will have committed 3 murders. And the guy's like all arrogant. His tie is straight and he's just leaning in and he's laughing and that's ridiculous. Things like that over there. I'm an educated man. I went to Harvard. I have a degree. You can't tell me that exists. That's just nonsense. How long have you been hearing voices? Well, let me tell you, folks. Rest assured, by the time that movie is 3/4 of the way done, that tie comes a little loose around that neck. Sweat across the brow. Hair messed up and his face is doing these weird contorting things like he's trying to understand and looking back. And you can see by the look on his face, he's trying to look back and remember. Because this dude's picking him apart. And he starts getting up and he's pacing around the room. And the reason he's jumping out of the chair and pacing around the room is because the dude just looked at him and said, "How's your mother?" Again, he's not spitting blood. He's not crawling up the walls. He's not hanging upside down from the ceiling. "How's your mother?" "What do you know about my mother?" See? Well, you went ahead and decided to have an assisted Harry Carey. And you told yourself when you signed those papers that you were doing the right thing, that, see where I'm going? Did that $1 million insurance policy have anything to do with that? Guy's pacing and sweating. And he leans in a little bit closer. He says, "Come on. You know when you signed that paper, they know where your cracks are. But I got to tell you something. The guy wasn't wrong because he said, that's one. That's one murder." And the reason that is so shocking is because the way the man describes it, and everything, and I'll let him do it. You go watch it. The way he describes his position, his vantage point, the way he talked himself into it, the way he made everything okay. Yeah, I got that business trip, and this could go on for another couple weeks. And because they have made us think that material things are more important than maternal things. It was easy for him to make that decision and justify it in his head. And again, what I think about that is irrelevant. It's what he was thinking, his intent. And this thing that was birthed out of a black, bubbly, nasty, slimy hole of hell knew it and said, before you leave this room, you will have committed murder 3 times. Now, if you want to know what the other 2 murders are, go watch the movie. It's called Nefarious. But he said another thing before he was done. And somewhere along the line, the tie was completely gone, I believe, and he was sweating profusely. His sleeves were probably rolled up, and he was leaned in now, very interested in how he backs out of this whirlwind. And every once in a while, he'll lean back to his profession and just say, I'm just going to kill him, and I'm just going to get this over. You're fine. You're completely sane. Or he went from you're completely out of your mind to you're sane, because this thing inside of this man is trying to get them to kill this man. They win that way. They get that soul. And every once in a while, the man's real personality would come through and say, don't let him do this to me. I never meant to do any of those things. They made me do it. And at one point in time, the devil made me do it. At one point in time, the man leans into him and he asks him, how do you get a hold of people like this? How does this start? What do you just pick somebody? He says, we know the weak ones. We know the ones that are going to be not too much work. Or, sometimes there's ones where we take somebody that's going to be a little more of a challenge. We love to get somebody that claimed that they were, working for God's sake. We love to take them down. A little harder, but breaking faith is their favorite. They talked a little bit about Job. Those are no. He says, no, it's so much easier than that. And now the man who wanted to know the answers is leaned in. And the demon leans in. And he answers the question. How do you get in? And he says, the little yeses. The little yeses. It's that simple. We gather up enough of those. Before you know it, start adding a little guilt. A little they deserved it. They owed you. Go ahead. And he shows this guy. It's a process. Some are easier than others. Know thy enemy. Get a song. Get a smile. Get a joke. Understand that if you want others to have an easier journey and you want yourself to have an easier journey, so easy to forget throughout the day. You'll remember and forget 1,000 times a day. But if you keep coming back and go, Roadhouse love, I'm just going to be nice to nice no longer works. I understand that when I go to Wawa and people open a door for me on the way in, I say, thank you very much. Have a nice day. And then the son of a bitch practically hit my car going out of the parking lot. That's life. You kind of laugh it off, or you can get angry at it. You can let it break you. Some people are going through some terrible, terrible trials right now. I've learned something along the way. I'm going through them anyway. I might as well laugh, because I'm getting to the other side. How about you? What happened, Jack? Earlier I heard my neighbor's wife scream. I felt something horrible had happened. My mom is a nurse, so when the PD showed up, she ran out to help and saw him hanging in the garage. Oh, Jesus, sweet Lord God Almighty. I'm so sorry, sweetie. Here's the deal. As we speak, this is what I mean. People are giving up and giving in. They've lost hope. Don't you dare lose hope. You are the light. That's not an easy thing to always carry. Because you go, why do I have to be the light? I want to be all sad and I want to do, okay, eat the ice cream, eat the candy bar, drink whatever. You get my point. Eat the bacon. Watch the show. Cry it out. This is why people do this. Change your hair. Reorganize the closets. Go, go to the shooting range. Go, shoot arrows at a target or something. Get it out. Then find something to replenish that, because this isn't easy. My heart goes out to that family and the gentleman. But here's the thing. I hate to tell you this, but it doesn't stop if you take that with you. Those are hard. And I've cursed out people that have sat here and said that those people don't cross. That's bullshit. They do. But I can tell you there's been more than one. Oh, gosh, more than one. Double-digit stories of them coming over and helping others that are going down that road and they want them to stop it. And if they can help them, it helps them too. Like I said, it's a give and take, guys. It's all about energy. So what we're going to do is we're going to pray for him and pray for his family and everybody around and anybody going through that. Because it's hard. These are hard times. But if you understand that light and laughter is going to get you through. As crazy as that sounds, try it and see if I'm not right. Because if I wasn't singing through some of the stuff that I went through, I'd have been screaming. I know you know what I mean. The reason I shared it was because of what you and the rest of us believe. Keep your light on. Yep, the darkness is always chasing us and want to penetrate the light. Stay strong. We will not lose. Amen, brother. What a beautiful way to end this show. This has been phenomenal. Sometimes when I'm talking like that, yes, Telly Savalas story. You know what? We should do that one. Maybe tomorrow night we'll play it with Steve. I think tomorrow night I'm going to try. We got a lot going on in my world right now, and it's it's a lot of like labor and organizing and things like that. It's nothing bad, but we might be able to play that. But I think we're going to do Legally Haunted, ghosts in court cases and things like that. And again, so sorry for your loss, but here the pressure is on. So listen. If you find it in these times that it's hard to maintain your status quo, if you're having a hard time, listen to me. Family, maybe you'd rather get together with family. Maybe people can bundle up. I know that people in small groups they're just chilling. Everybody's helping everybody. So do that. Maybe get out of wherever you are and put together money and rent a house or a duplex or something like that, and everybody help each other and just stay out of each other's hair if you can do it. Simple things. Because listen, man, do you think it was an accident that they told everybody that you have to the things that you are going to get credit for are the things that you have? So 2 people living in a McMansion with 2 or 3 cars and think just because they can't afford to go to Jamaica instead of something else that they haven't made it yet, so they're going to try hard to hit whatever their makes them feel like they made it, their value, their stuff, their job, their degree, their how many cars, me give me mine shit. And they separated us. They separated you from family, from your elders living in the same house with you, from your children being raised by you, being taught by you, helped by you, loved by you. They've split us all up. It used to take a tribe. There was a reason the tribe worked together. And they put you out in cubicles and, all this other stuff and made you think that you had to have these big show, all this stuff. And then you have to stay on the hamster wheel to maintain it. And then they threaten to pull it out from under you. It makes your spirit and your soul do things that you wouldn't do to get through it, to maintain it. So, my God, I can't lose this. I can't lose that. I can't live without that. Right? So it keeps you on that wheel. And then they tax the hell out of you and keep you down. Let it go. Find a different way. Find an alternative way. Not everybody can live with everybody else, but you know what I mean? Get creative. Think about it. What would be wrong with, somebody going and getting an acre of property and putting a couple tiny houses on it or something? Help each other out. Keep an eye out for each other. Leave each other the hell alone. Keep an eye out. There's different things people can do, but everybody thinks they have to do everything alone. How many people do you know of that it's like, I'm elderly, I'm on Social Security, I can't make it alone. Well, do you have a neighbor that's doing the same thing? Maybe you can't stand to be, make sure they're not a criminal or shit first. Do smart things, but you get what I'm saying? Used to be all these boarding houses and bed and breakfasts and people that stay together. You cringe to think it now, but maybe that's their doing too. Maybe they just want us to be so scared of each other we won't get together and fucking beat their asses, which we're going to do. Because people are waking up. People realize that love matters, friends matter, loyalty matters, honor meant something, it will mean it again. We understand the evil is real. We got our eye on it. And that's their biggest fear. So keep your lights on. I love you all. See you tomorrow night with Steve Stockton. And I'm going to see if I can find us something nice to leave out on here. And I love you all, man. Thank you so much for contributing, in the chat. And your love. Please hit the like on the way out. It does help with the algorithm. Like I said, we're a small show, but, we're organic. There's no GMO in this bitch. And if you're here for a reason. You're here to talk it through. We're here to try to sort it. But, man, I'm telling you, the information is coming fast. It's coming not just to me, to many people. And it's really shown me, that's a good one. It's really shown me that, so again, it's reiterating that everything's connected, dude. It sounds crazy, and I might just be, batshit crazy lady with, half redhead, half gray hair. I'm as real as you gonna get, honey. And I ain't here to lie. Okay? This shit's happening. Bigfoot's real. There are aliens. There are dimensions. This stuff is connected. Love is eternal. It's the greatest energy out there. Proven time and time again. Laughter will back off the darkness. Dark's afraid of the light. And they're afraid of me. Because I'm more powerful. And so are you. You can beat this shit. Whatever it is. Just keep your head up. Stay above the line. See you here tomorrow night. Love you all. Let's see what we can play out here. Let's see. Do you want raccoons? I know. This is a good one. Life can be hard, but you go keep your zen. Here you go. Good night, everybody. Money, 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 money.